that you don't have to work today. That would be terrific. I don't know what I just did. I might have just busted my microphone. Am I going to have to hold this shit the whole time? Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm just trying to fix a microphone mount here off to the side. I don't know if you guys can even hear me very well, but let's see if I can get this shit. I might have broke my microphone stand. Good morning. Thank you for hitting that like button as you rolled in. I appreciate that. Oh no, this is not good. This is not good. Oh no. We may just have to be gentle with it. I might have broke my mic stand. Let's see. Working on it. Sorry guys. Sorry for this very unprofessional move here by me. You deserve better. You deserve more professional than this. But you get what you get when you got me. Holy smokes, what is going on here? Hey everyone! I hope you enjoyed me being invisible as you're rolling in. I will be there momentarily, I promise. There's Felice. Son of a bitch. This does not happen to Felice. I don't know. I literally just tried to tighten my stand and it broke. So now I'm jerry-rigging it. Hi Felice.
Hey.
I broke my microphone stand, I think, so I'm trying to fix it. We've got real problems here.
Yeah, well,
Happy Friday to you.
I know. It's Friday.
Big plans for the weekend? I know you. You'll be out at Old Town Scottsdale Club.
Yeah, you know me. Either that or I'll be in an underpass hanging out with the unhoused. I would rather. I've done my Old Town time. You know what I mean? I used to be that person. Like, I used to not be able... Like, if I went to Old Town, like, 20 people, you know, like, on the street would shout my name. Like, I am proud.
Okay. A little braggy there.
No, that's not a brag. That's embarrassing. You know what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
You're the person they're like, they make the...
Well, in my defense, when I worked in the tech industry, one of our offices was in Scottsdale. Like, you know the Galleria Corporate Center? It's like an old mall.
Galleria Corporate
That's
Center.
where one of our offices was. So like we like lunch, everything. We would like eat at clubs. You know what I mean? Like
that's what everything is.
So that's why people knew. It wasn't necessarily like I was that much. I'm not saying I was a club rat. Someone who asked me, I think it might have been...
You're also not saying you weren't a club rat.
It might be... No, that's where I'm going with this. It might have been Hull. Someone asked the other day in the comments or something, were you a rave? Like, did you go to raves? Yeah. Like, did
you really?
Electric Daisy Carnival, like, yeah.
I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that means. I've never been to a rave in my life.
Okay.
That has never made any... that culture... That music and that scene. There's so many people.
Do I want to move to Oklahoma? I will consider it. Thank you for the offer. I know 2 other people in Oklahoma. One is the superintendent of public schools who's trying to round up any lesbian teachers, trying to root them out.
Well, you could offer a nice counterbalance.
And the
there
judge.
in Oklahoma.
I just said never mind. I shouldn't have said that.
Shouldn't say what?
Well, I don't know if he wants people to know where he's from. Never mind. I was just naming people I knew from Oklahoma.
I'm having a hard time a little bit hearing you. Do you want to just turn it up a hair? You've got your...
me?
Yeah, you've got your Friday voice on, which is a little more gentle.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, everybody else hear her good?
Yeah, everyone can hear me. Something's wrong with you. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Something's wrong with you.
I don't even know if that's true. I'm just saying it just preemptively.
That's a you problem. All right, I got everything recording. There we go. Well, we've had a nice morning. We've had a nice week.
We have survived. I asked for feedback in our staff meeting on Tuesday, and I was told I need to share more about myself. I have great news. I had a lot of medical tests a week ago, because I don't know if anyone's ever heard me say this, but literally almost exactly 4 years ago, I accidentally almost died. There's no other way to put it. I don't know what else to say, but I was briefly in a little coma and in the hospital for a long time. And so they have to periodically just check to make sure I'm healing and everything. And I got I passed with flying colors. The doctor cried because it's like I have the same doctors that I had in the hospital. So after like 4 years, we all have like a trauma bond. And they were like so proud of me and all of my hard work.
Well, I don't really know what it was, but I know you were nervous about it yesterday.
Yeah,
I know
for the
that,
whole week.
The message I got after was had no more nerves, so I was happy for you. I was also happy for me because I can't function on my own. That's a real problem.
We are becoming codependent.
Yes, we are, in the best possible way. I don't know if I remember.
We should have a reality show of like two people who are incapable of trusting other humans, learning to trust each other and build a business because it's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bizarre relationship.
People
I'll say
only
that.
do. It's fascinating. We are a mess, but it's like a beautiful mess.
It's weird. It's weird to come. What did somebody say? I was too trusting. Who's talking shit?
Yeah. Well, not anymore. Now Jay
Casey.
literally is scared of his own shadow.
Oh, that's facts. That is facts. I'm convinced now that everybody is lying to me. But I don't know if I remember we have some weeks where the news is really draining, and by Friday, you and I will both, Thursday, Friday, we're like, man, this is a lot, and it just weighs on you. This week, I feel exhausted for a different reason. I feel tired because it has been nothing but like stupidity and the exact opposite of reality. It's like this week the Republicans just decided, no more reality. We are only going to say things that aren't true. It's bizarro land out there. Twitter is bizarro land, and the Republican infighting is bizarro land.
Yep.
To the point where we'll get to it, but you're like going through Twitter and you're like, God damn, Laura Loomer's making some
I was
sense
just
today.
gonna say that Laura Loomer has one Twitter that's making the most sense. She is so right. She was so spot on. Which
Start with that. That's how we should
hit
start.
with a lot of truth. I will say that like Laura Loomer is way out there. There's nothing she won't do or say and goes way too far. But like, yeah, she's speaking the truth today. Like, I mean, I made 2 TikToks about her. I've never said her name in my life. I made 2 TikToks about her publicly.
She's probably thrilled. She's so
and
happy.
Bushmaster. Well, before we do this, hold on. Let me just do my thing. First of all, we don't know if Jay's ever going to get his main account back. This is his backup RTP Talks 2. So Bushmaster, follow Jay. You know you like to be here. It sounds like you're already following him because you always know when to come. So if anyone's not following Jay's second account,
Bushmaster always knows when to come, and
Exactly.
it's always early.
I was
always
gonna
early in the show.
skip over that prematurely. Yes.
He doesn't usually last through the end of the show, but he makes it for the first couple minutes, and then he's spent.
Exactly. I don't know if I've ever met him. Have I ever talked? I think I've seen him in live, but I don't know if I've ever talked to him. Yes,
he's been
and
on with me and you.
RTP Talks 3 is follow that as well because you never know. Next week
missed
we
that
could be
account.
on that account.
That was my sleuth account before, and nobody
okay.
knew it was me. I had some good times on that account. So RTP Talks 3 it's devastating that it's no longer the name that it used to be. Maybe I'll create another one of these days.
Oh, it's a good time to put my phones on silent, isn't it?
RT3PO. Well done, ML Fox.
Okay, so let's tap the screen. Let's get to 25K. Let's share the live. Bushmaster, go tell your friends to come if you're too scared to come up here. Invite some of your friends to come and talk to us.
Yeah, we got a woman here. They can instead of shouting at women on Twitter, they could just shout at a woman here
On YouTube.
You get
guys
one.
could take a break from shouting at or belittling women on YouTube and come over here and talk and belittle me. It'll be fun.
I've been having a good time.
Pretending to be me, yelling at people.
Well, I don't necessarily pretend to be you, but people on Instagram specifically. One thing I've learned about men, white conservative men in their 40s, is they love to make fun of women, and they love to trash women, and so I'm enjoying that. There's 2 people. There's this. I think they might be each other's only friends. They just show up every day to troll, and I find that fun. I have found a new hobby in trolling people on Twitter and Instagram, and I understand how childish that is. And I hope that like everybody else, I also hope I grow out of it. But as of right now, I have not grown out of it. I'm really enjoying the time I'm spending on Twitter. And I feel
like that you do it. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like if Elon is going to have this platform where he's just like, all the schmozzies are welcome, I think it's only fair for me to go on that schmozzy platform and relentlessly mock the schmozzies. And it's easy to do because schmozzies are remarkably dumb, and they're not
also
funny.
Very sensitive. You know
Very
what I'm saying?
sensitive.
For how much hate they're spewing, they are extremely sensitive. Yeah. And a shout out to Jacqueline for in the comments saying Bushmaster never mastered a bush in his life. That's hilarious. I'm sorry. I just had to. It's Friday.
Like
I lost my mind last night. I thought I was gonna die for a week. Now I just have nothing to lose. So.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's go. Let's get this account taken down too. Let's just take them all down. Burn it down.
I was worried about that for a second yesterday when what's Big Block was going off for a while there.
He was grumpy. He got a little grumpy.
Yeah, he really took a turn.
I talked to Felice right before this. We were going over something else, and I just brought up that I just brought up like threats, right? And that at some point it's a right winger. I jokingly said like a right winger would try and end it, and Felice is like, I don't fucking care. I don't fear death. Just like whatever, just make it short. I was like, oh no. I was like,
as long I don't want to be like taken to a second location and tortured, but
put me in the first spot. Do it quick. We're good.
Exactly. That's fine. No problems.
Here? Oh, Bushmaster's here to talk to you. There you go.
Hi. Have we talked before? I think we might have.
No, I don't think we have.
Oh, you don't sound as happy as we do. What's going on?
Nothing. Sitting here in line waiting to get an oil change, chilling out.
Is that a euphemism, or like you're actually getting an oil change?
I'm actually like sitting here waiting to get an oil change. Yeah.
Well, tell the boys at the Jiffy Lube or wherever you're at that we said hello and appreciate your service.
Oh, it ain't no Jiffy Lube. This is backwoods Alabama place right here.
it's like Larry's tire hair care.
No, it's just the change.
Store, bait shop.
Just the change. That's it.
Can you get worms, like night crawlers at this place?
Night crawlers, no.
I remember when I lived in South Carolina.
Unfortunately, you can't.
There was this place that they did tires and oil changes, but they also had like some of the best fast food type stuff. Like they would do fried chicken. They had really, really good greens and potatoes, and it was also a bait shop. It was an amazing place. The town had like 800 people in it, and just everybody hung out at the tire place that also sold food and was the bait shop. So I was hoping it was something like that.
No, this ain't nothing like that.
Anyways, what's up, man? What's on your mind?
I don't know. Y'all were talking and telling me you want me to come up, so here I am.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, we were just talking about how this week it seems that the MAGA folks, and I think you consider yourself MAGA, is that right?
1 second.
Sure.
I think it's, what I want to talk about is just the deflection from MAGA. It's so, Laura Loomer has it spot on. It's all of a sudden oh, look, we scheduled the Hunter Biden hearing. Pay no attention to the fact that Nancy Pelosi is still running the government.
I like how Nancy Pelosi steps down. She also is not the majority leader, and yet still she is somehow the boogie woman for all Republicans. Like I think that this week has gone to show us that even the people in Congress that work there have no idea how it operates. They don't know who's in charge. They don't know how things work. They just know that when things don't go their way, it's Nancy Pelosi's fault.
No, that's not what it is. They're upset because Nancy is actually funding the government. Like, they have still never effectively come up with their own budget. Every time they
Wait,
do
but no, she's
every
not.
time they do a
She's just a person.
I'm saying this though. Like, well, I don't know if you looked through the outline, but all these Republicans yesterday, Boebert, your girlfriend Lauren Boebert was one of them, saying, "Oh, the continued resolution sucks. It's Pelosi-esque." It's not Pelosi-esque. You continued the budget that Pelosi made because you guys can't write and agree and vote and agree upon your own budget.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I thought they were still just blaming Pelosi.
No, they're not blaming her.
They're
like
just
they're all
saying
just like, this is Pelosi-esque. It's not Pelosi-esque. It is exactly her budget.
So that goes to show you how effective they've been. That the budget that exists is still her budget.
They complain so much about it, but they still haven't changed it.
Choo-choo!
Yeah, somebody drove in the shop, man.
This is real life.
Anyways, how are you feeling about your MAGA folks this week? I think it was a bizarre week for MAGA folks. What do you think?
I don't know.
What do you think about?
I haven't really got to follow a lot. I've had a lot going on with work and whatnot. That's why I'm getting an oil change now.
Did you hear about Trump possibly having syphilis?
I saw the red marks on his hands.
What's your take on that?
Well, there's a lot of things that can cause shit like that. Like, you can get lemon, like citrus on your hands and get in the sunlight, and it'll cause a burn on your hands. It could be a lot of things. So, just to jump to conclusions like that, I know people like to make...
No, he was probably trying to heal himself with light from COVID. Remember, he said to shine a certain type of light on yourself.
I think it's just old age getting to the fella. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of evidence. I think his ex-wife said that she got syphilis. I'm pretty sure.
What?
I'm pretty sure I saw that on Twitter. I have no. Let me look and see if that's verified. I saw that on Twitter from somebody. What was the first one? Ivana.
Oh yeah. Alex Jones is very upset. Alex Jones did like a whole segment on his show about syphilis.
Why are they getting upset? I don't know. Why is that even a topic?
I don't know. It's very strange. Second, you can. Okay.
I think it's a topic because if it was reversed, if this was Joe Biden, Trump would make fun of. Trump makes fun of everybody. But Trump people are always really upset when it gets turned around on him. But he literally mocks every human being who doesn't like him. Like, if he hears somebody doesn't like him, he will mock them. But then it is funny that
you do the same thing, RTP.
Hell yeah, I do. Hell yeah, I do.
Your accent.
But if you showed up and you made fun of Joe Biden for falling off his bike, I wouldn't be upset about it. I'd be like, yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't think Trump can ride a bike, but I think it's fair.
Well, Alex Jones had people come on and he did a whole analysis, and he's determined that it's golfer's rash. From his golf.
Yeah, I heard something about that too. It could be from golfing.
Yeah, what do you think? Can you get What
do I think?
No, I'm asking Jay. Jay's a serious golfer.
Those are some. I think he's too good of a golfer to have. Now, I want to be clear. I would beat his ass.
He should have calluses.
Those are in the wrong spot.
You're younger than he is. His skin ain't as tough as yours, so to speak.
What I'm saying is that the marks are in the wrong spot. He's too good of a golfer to have to have marks in those spots. He's good enough. A good golfer would have on your
when you grip it when you grip it. The golf club, is it like gripping a damn baseball bat?
I mean, I'm not a baseball player, so I don't know. But
I was a baseball player.
But you would want it more in your last three fingers, like your middle, your ring finger, and your pinky. He's too good to have it up there. Maybe, and maybe he's not. I don't know. He's a terrible chipper. Maybe the golf club had syphilis.
I don't think he's any good at golf.
No, he's good. He's the best golfing president ever. He says he's like a scratch golfer. He's more like a 6. He's a notorious cheater, which is maybe the thing that... There's a whole book that Rick Riley wrote called Commander in Cheat, and he just went and interviewed people that had worked at Trump golf clubs and famous people that play with him. His nickname from the caddies was Pele because he'd hit his ball into the shit, and then he would kick it back onto the. So, and he always drives the fastest golf cart. So his golf cart can go faster than every other golf cart there. So he's always ahead. His ball always gets found. He'll throw it up on the green.
Wait, does he drive or he has somebody else drive for him?
Oh, he drives.
Oh. Why the heck? That don't make no sense to me. Sorry.
Yeah, it's better to be driven around than drive. I agree.
Well, if you're trying to cheat, it's good for you to be in the driver's seat, right?
Yeah, I concur.
To cheat? You said cheat?
Yeah, he's a notorious cheater. Like, if you look at the scores he posts, and that. So here's some fun stories. So he claims he has
RTP, I'm gonna say this saying before you say that. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. If you get caught cheating, you ain't trying hard enough.
Well, that's a very
Are you married,
Republican thing to
Bushmaster? Your wife must just really.
No, I filed for divorce all 3 times.
Did you cheat all 3 times?
3 times?
I cheated, but that's why.
You're just like Trump. This is awesome. Okay.
That's so honest. Okay, well, look, I kind of get why you like him now. It makes sense. It does make sense.
Birds of a feather.
Yeah, he's your kind of guy.
Well, maybe we should talk with Bushmaster about my conspiracy theory.
Go ahead.
Bushmaster, do you know that the left does have one conspiracy theory?
The left has a lot of conspiracy theories, but I would love to hear what you think is a conspiracy theory.
Okay,
yes.
I'm going to let you know. And she keeps trying to put us off her scent, but I'm on to her. Margarine is on Twitter, X or whatever, all yesterday, trying to tell us that she figured out who the pipe bomber is when we all well know it's her. And she's like,
wait,
pretending.
are you talking about MTG?
Yes, Margarine. I call her Margarine.
Margarine Trailer Green. Yeah.
Margarine Trader Gangrene is we suspect maybe have something to do with the pipe.
Well,
bomb.
I'm going to debunk that very quickly. She's not.
How do you know? Were you with her?
Because she's not smart enough to build a pipe bomb. So you're lost.
Let's wait, but hold on. Let's remember. Let's remember that the pipe bomb notoriously didn't work. It was so poorly constructed that the police, even when they were there, were like, "Yeah, this shit's."
Yeah, but she's not smart enough to even attempt to make one, bro.
But have you seen that person walking their gait? Look, that it looks a lot like she walks.
Just that bow-legged.
Yeah. This is the one left conspiracy theory that we have. Like, we should do like a 3-hour deep dive onto this on YouTube. But she tweeted yesterday. Well, she did a whole thing. Trying to convince us that she's finding the pipe bomber so everyone will forget that she did it. But she's like, the pipe bomb was so non-threatening that the Secret Service watched a group of school children walk by it. Remember when they claimed it could have unalived Kamala Harris? Great thread here about the MAGA pipe bomb from J6. Like, first of all, she's trying to make it seem like, oh, it was nothing, guys. Like, if they do finally catch me, it's no.
So it's just all speculation of her actions. Then that's how you come to this conclusion. Yes. Why is she always?
She has talked about it. It is. Look, it is a conspiracy theory. We understand that.
Yeah,
so we're not saying for sure it's true.
We're not insane.
But it's weird how much she has focused on it. Nobody else really cares about it. She seems
no one.
Like, she was the one that people were like, that bow-legged strut looks like her. But she's the only one that ever talks about it.
And now then Tucker tweets, Tucker Carlson, not to be outdone by Margarine talking about a conspiracy theory, is like, it seems likely that government officials were involved in planting pipe bombs in Washington, D.C. 3 years ago as part of an effort to keep Donald Trump from running for president again. Darren Beatty has details. See, he's in on it. Just kidding. They're trying now. This is a shocker. They're blaming Antifa or undercover FBI agents. Like, it's
I want to ask you a question while you're in a good mood. Do you think it's weird that people blame Antifa for January 6th?
Yes.
Bushmaster. And my thought behind that is like,
Sorry, I was talking to
you're
the
good.
gentleman put pouring oil into my truck. What'd you ask?
The gentleman pouring oil.
Is that what he's doing? He's just pouring oil in. Are you sure you're getting a good service there?
Oh yeah,
no.
I always come here.
Okay, good. I was just wondering if you think it's kind of silly that people blame Antifa for January 6th, or they pretend like January 6th was no big deal. I'm having a hard time figuring out what like the MAGA narrative actually is,
because it doesn't make any sense.
Sometimes it's Antifa, sometimes it was just like a walking tour of the Capitol, and then sometimes it was like a justified insurrection. And I'm having a hard time figuring out what's the actual like narrative there. Was it Antifa? Was it a walking tour? Was it a justified insurrection?
They're Antifa hostages trapped to the DC jail.
That's right. And who are these hostages?
Yeah.
Were they
He finished
also
pouring
Antifa?
oil. He had me. He was checking my lights and shit.
Why are they worried about freeing Antifa from the DC jail? Why now? If it was Antifa, can you explain that?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Are you?
Why?
You are so calm today. It's throwing me off. What's going on? Are you
chilling.
losing your faith in the Lord and Savior Donald?
I think they all are.
Bro, he's not Lord and Savior. What are you talking about?
Oh no.
No, there are many people, MAGA people, that do worship him as Jesus, or they think Jesus sent him.
I mean that's a weird take, but sure.
Well, this is your group.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out your group. We're trying to get some help with your group so we can understand.
While you're
it's
in a
been a
good
weird
mood,
week, and we're
explain
trying
to
to
us
figure out what's going
happening.
on with MAGA. And so we're trying to talk to MAGA and figure out what's going on. Feels like maybe you don't know what's going on either. Maybe this is just a confusing week for everybody. Even the MAGAs are like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I have another question. I have one question. Answer this question for me. How come you guys get so upset about men wearing makeup, but Trump wears more makeup than anyone else?
I've always said that dude wears makeup. What are you talking about?
So his face was melting off this week in New Hampshire. I'm just saying it's ironic. No one. Matt Gaetz always has makeup on.
Thank you.
Here's your new sticker.
Oh yeah, new sticker.
Oh, you guys sound
Do you know how to
exactly the
reset your
same.
maintenance slot?
It sounds
I
like
like
what's
that.
up,
I like
to tell you to change your oil, you know how to
Yeah, I
reset
know how to
it.
reset it. Yeah, I do.
Thank
Deep
you. You have a
South.
blessed day.
Yeah, you too, man.
Say "Make America Great Again." See if he says it back.
Yeah, can you try, Bushmaster? Will you say "Make America Great Again" to him and see if he says it back?
Hold on. I got to reset this dang light real quick.
He will. He will definitely say it back.
Maybe the oil guy could tell us about what's
No,
going on this week.
I know.
I know.
He probably knows.
Oh shit.
How old are you, Bushmaster? You've been married 3 times, divorced 3 times?
Yeah, I'm 40.
That's right. Okay, ladies, we have a single man here. You could be lucky number 4.
Nope, don't. I am not. Nope, I am not on the market. I will not be back on that market.
Oh, you switched teams there, Bushmaster?
Nope, I didn't switch teams. I'm on the single for life team.
That's probably going to be more cost effective for
Same
you.
here. I've
That's not a bad idea.
never been married. I was smart enough to not. I'll probably never get married. And I didn't have to get divorced 3 times.
All right, this is getting
Well,
uncomfortable.
I believed it. I actually believed them when they said they love me and all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
What? Maybe they stopped loving you when you cheated on them, though, in all fairness. Maybe that was the problem.
No, I didn't cheat on them. They cheated on me. That's why
I thought you said...
We thought you
said
cheated on them.
No.
I'm sorry. That 3 times? I'm sorry.
They
That's
cheated
too
on
bad.
me, and that's the reason I filed for divorce. Like what I always tell people, my first wife, I was married to her for 6 years. During that 6 years, I did 2 tours overseas. I was overseas serving the country. She was back home serving the country, if you're picking up what I'm putting down.
I am, sir.
Jesus.
I am. Okay.
So-
that's no good.
Yeah. And the second one, well, she ran off with an ex-coworker of mine that had 3 kids with it.
What? Oh my God. This is why I'm never getting married. I can't.
And what happened with number 3? This seems
I'm
to be
scared
getting
to find
progressively
out.
worse.
Number 3 was probably the worst one of all of them. I married her, and a month later, I was filing for divorce.
What? A month?
1 month.
As a quick learner, he's learned. He's learned quicker. Yeah. All right. So, do you have, as somebody who has been the victim of, apparently, I don't know where you find, like, I don't know if, I hope all these women aren't from the same town you're
Is
from.
this
That
like
would be wild.
Tinder, or you meeting at the local watering hole, or?
But then, do you,
They're all from the general area, but not all from the same town.
Okay.
do you find it at all like a little strange that then you went all in on another serial cheater? You seem to have a type. And then you're like, yeah, Trump. Like, is it possible that you just recognized that behavior in Trump and like you're just attracted to cheaters? Do you think that's maybe what happened?
Well, I'm not really into men, so.
I know, but just like that personality trait, the personality traits of somebody who's a cheater. You feel like maybe that's what
I do that a lot,
Trump?
Bushmaster. Choose the wrong people.
Same. I got
I
catfished. Yeah.
I wouldn't relate politics to my personal
Oh, it's all related. Ask Fred.
life.
Yeah, that's the shitty thing.
Too
Is you
much.
find out that everything you do is related. Every type of relationship you have is related. But I'm just wondering, because like we're looking at a guy who, forget what he did in his personal life. He literally cheats at everything. He literally lies about everything. Last night he was asked what message to give to the people of New Hampshire. Is his closing remarks to New Hampshire, and he just started complaining about how presidents should be allowed to break the law.
Oh, that was scary.
as much as they want. I'm just trying to figure out, like with MAGA, and I'm watching
Let's
Donald
play
Trump.
that. Should I play that clip for him?
I'm just trying to figure out what do people still see in this guy?
What attracts you, not sexually, to Donald Trump?
Because he speaks his mind.
And so is it more important for you that somebody speaks his mind than it is that they say things
Well,
that
I mean,
are correct?
that's what I liked about your show. You talk shit. That's funny.
That's fair. That's fair. I think that's fair. So, like, would you, if there was a Democrat that was running that talked a lot of shit, would you vote for that Democrat? Like, let's say it was like Nikki Haley versus a shit talk. Let's say it's Jon Stewart, and Jon Stewart's out there talking shit. Would you vote for Jon Stewart because you like that's what you want in a leader, is somebody who talks a little shit?
I don't know John too well. I know I've seen clips of him, but I don't know much about him. So.
Well, he's a professional comedian, so he's better at talking shit than Trump. He comes up with, he says some pretty funny things. So let's just imagine that it was somebody that was a lefty like myself.
I don't know. I'd have to say the comment about Rocket Man was kind of fucking hilarious to me.
Yeah, but he stole that. He stole that from people on Twitter. That was a stolen joke. Which is fine. I'm not saying Trump didn't say some funny things. He's actually said some funny things. Some awful things too. I'm just wondering, like, is that more important to you than like what they stand for or what they like promote? Because Donald Trump seems to be promoting one thing and one thing only, and right now, and that thing is presidents get to break any law they want to.
He actually made a True Social post about that. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, we read that.
Yeah, that was wild. That was the precursor to him saying, let me play this for you.
That one right there.
Yeah, let me play this for you.
Yeah, that one.
Yes, that was one of the craziest. Here, listen to this.
Well, I can see his what he's saying, but at the same time, it depends on the crime. Like if a president walks up and just pew somebody, no, they should not have immunity to that. No.
So you don't agree that he should be granted the presidential immunity by the Supreme Court then? Because that's part of the argument, that he could off his political opponent.
Where is that part of the argument?
Well, hold on. Let me play this video. Let me get this video out first because I think it's important for our show. And let's listen to this, and then we'll go into that 1 second.
Message to the people of New Hampshire.
It's very simple. It's make America great again. But I think very important, before we do this, because you were talking about the Supreme Court, they have two votes that are very important coming up. One is, as we discussed, we call it Colorado or whatever. But, I really believe they're going to leave the people to vote. Again, you're the leading candidate in both parties. You're leading the Democrats by many, many points. I mean, it's hard to imagine they would do. And most states have already approved it, as you know. Very few states have done that. This is Colorado and a couple of others at this moment. But they have another important, and that's immunity for the president. The president of the United States, and I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about any president, has to have immunity. Because if you take immunity away from the president, so important, you will have a president that's not going to be able to do anything. Because when he leaves office, the opposing party president, if it's the opposing party, will indict the president for doing something that should have been good, like Obama.
What is your closing message?
Yeah. So, he's just saying he needs presidential immunity because otherwise he can't commit crimes. He doesn't feel secure in committing all the crimes he wants to commit. But in terms of the presidential immunity thing, wait, what was the question I was supposed to be answering prior to playing that? Jay, do you remember?
I got distracted by March. We were talking about, basically the idea that Donald Trump.
The Navy SEAL thing. Yeah. When Trump's lawyer was arguing like the presidential immunity claim before the DC
Heard that
court.
one.
Yeah, and they said because that's the point. If you're saying presidential immunity, can he instruct the Navy SEAL to unalive his political opponent? And Trump's lawyer said yes. Do you think that and just imagine
so.
it's not just about Trump. It's not just about Trump.
No,
it's
I understand what you're saying,
any
but
president ever.
Right. I think if you're listening to that guy, I don't think Trump would listen to that. At least I hope he wouldn't, because that's like some Benito Mussolini fucking bullshit right there.
That's his lawyer.
Yeah, you understand. That's the actual, like, it was his attorney that was arguing that, right? When they asked, they're like, could he do that? And he's like, well, you'd have to impeach him first, and then you could convict him. But if he didn't get impeached, so meaning if like the president went and had this done, and while they were in office, but then when they left office, they weren't impeached, or if Congress decided not to impeach them, which could potentially, you could see a scenario where Congress is working at the behest of the president, either party, and they're like, yeah, we're not
like
going to
now.
Like the House, they're like, we're not going to vote
not
to
unlike
impeach.
now.
So what he's saying is that the only way you can convict or prosecute a president for using SEAL Team 6 to unalive his opponent is if Congress impeaches them. But if they never do, then you can't hold the president accountable. That was his actual argument, which is pretty insane, right?
If they're actually impeached, well, that would be him. He was impeached twice.
Well, but you'd have to be impeached for that specific crime. So even though Trump was impeached for two other things, thanks for bringing that up. That's another selling point for the Donald. Even though he was impeached for those two things, because he wouldn't have been impeached for using SEAL Team 6, basically what they're saying is you could never prosecute him. Which is wild, because looking back, like, we should be able to try. I think one of the criticisms of the way that we've handled our executives in the past, for example, Bush, is that they were able, because of this presidential immunity, they were essentially able to commit war crimes. I think you could argue that Obama committed war crimes. You could argue that Trump did too, and this immunity has
you could argue
shielded.
that Biden has. When he sent cluster bombs, because
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, that's why we don't. The United States doesn't recognize the international criminal courts. Why do you think that is? We were harboring Henry Kissinger, like the butcher of Cambodia. Like, we hail him as a hero. This man was wanted in like more countries than he was allowed in. Yeah, I'm agreeing that we have a bunch of war criminals.
That's kind of what we're saying here, is that, and my big contention is that Trump's been dealing with all of this stuff since he left office. He's lost every case. His arguments have been shot down basically all along the way. And it seems to me that if this was a good argument, this is the argument he would have made 3 years ago. To me, this feels like this is his last possible argument. And I'm going to make a prediction here and now. I do not think Donald Trump is going to make it to the election. I don't think it's happening. I don't think he's going to be, whether he's the nominee or not. Yeah, I don't.
What makes you say that?
I never heard you say that before.
Because I'm talking to you right now, Bushmaster, and you're like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. He shouldn't be able to say that. And I think that there are, for the first time ever, I think there are people in MAGA who recognize that what's being sold to them absolutely isn't true. And you guys are now grappling with this idea of, okay, well, we know it's not true, but we still think it's better than Biden. But for the first time, MAGA folks are recognizing that Donald Trump has lost it, that he's saying things that are actually insane, that we don't want to believe. And I think that his public support has dropped. His approval rating is dropping, and I think the Georgia case is going to be devastating to him. I don't think he has a shot in hell. We covered this last week, and I checked this morning. He still hasn't submitted any counter evidence. There is
no discovery.
There is no defense for Georgia. He can't figure out a defense. His attorneys can't figure out a defense.
Smith. Hey, or the federal case, the January 6th case. Jack
Correct.
Smith filed something last week saying he has made no case. Like, we can't build a case because this man won't make a case.
Fundraising dollars are drying up. He's now like MSNBC, CNN. They're not airing his victory speeches anymore because they know they can get away with it now because everybody knows that what he's saying is insane and not true. So when MSNBC decides not to run his victory speeches and he gets mad, that wasn't even a story. But a year ago, MAGA would still be up in arms. But even I think the MAGAs know that what he's saying is crazy. We can't. It's been a weird week where we can't get MAGA folks to defend his crazy stuff.
Well, here's the stat that agrees with you.
Defend anything, and now
from
they can't.
Iowa. The stat that agrees with what you're saying is that of the 56,260 people that at the Iowa caucus that voted for Trump, 1/3 of them, or like 32%, said if he is convicted, I'm out. So, you know what I'm saying? Like 1/3 of the people in such a conservative state are saying, hey, with a conviction, I'm out. That's scary for him. That does not, and that's the Republican Party's candidate. They're going to run this man. Because Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, they're betting on exactly what you're saying, that he won't make it to the election.
And can I ask you this, Bushmaster? Like, if you look at the polls, I guess, would you rather have Nikki Haley as president or Joe Biden?
Both are bad, in my opinion.
Whoa.
We won't be on TikTok if Nikki Haley's president. That's her first thing.
Yeah, we won't be able to be friends anymore.
Never see you guys again if Nikki Haley's president.
That's actually a tough choice for you between Nikki Haley and Joe Biden?
I don't like Nikki Haley. I'll just flat tell you that.
He's not going to vote for a woman. Is that what it is?
No,
okay. It's like Ron DeSantis or
she's
Joe
a woman. It's the fact she had said something. No, she had said something along the lines of, what was it? That she got into politics because of Hillary Clinton, and then she was caught saying that she didn't get into politics because of Hillary Clinton, like specifically Hillary Clinton's name. I was just like, what the fuck is this woman saying?
You know Trump endorsed Hillary Clinton, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I feel like you might be being a little bit unfair to Nikki Haley, because Hillary Clinton was the first, like, of our lifetime, she was the first politician, like female politician that had a ton of sway. When she was first lady, she didn't act like first ladies of the past. She was active. She was outspoken. She was respected. She was the first, I think, secretary, female secretary, I believe. So when she was Secretary of State, for a lot of women, Hillary Clinton was like a sign that times were changing. So that would kind of make sense for Nikki Haley, right? Like, even though she disagrees with her politics now, Simply having a woman in politics who was being heard and who was respected by at least some people, that was kind of a first. But Donald Trump hung out with the Clintons. I think he went to Chelsea Clinton's wedding.
Oh, yeah, Trump is they're friends.
He endorsed. Yeah, they were buddies.
Well, Bill, we know now Bill and Trump and Jeffrey are great friends. Like,
They called themselves the Three Musketeers.
Does that bother you, Bushmaster? Why does no one care? Like, I'm not even debating what Trump did or didn't do, but everyone just said if whoever's in those Epstein documents that comes out, like, we're going to cancel them, but nobody seems to be canceling Trump for the fact he's all up in there.
Well, you look at the timelines of what happened when Epstein bought that island back in 98, 99, and it was 96 when Trump was like, "Get the fuck away from me, Epstein."
No, but it's but nothing that happened on the island is what the case for Jeffrey Epstein was about. You understand? That's outside of the U.S. jurisdiction. Like, we weren't litigating what happened on that island. It was stuff that happened in New York and where else? Trey?
New York, Florida, and New Mexico up near Santa Fe. He had basically did the same thing in Santa Fe. What you're talking about. So everything we know, every court case, everything we know about Jeffrey Epstein, it's a weird narrative, but most of what we know didn't happen on that island. Almost everything we know about happened within the United States.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Signal.
Oh, shitty signal?
I kind of like him.
I've never seen this version of Bushmaster. He's answering questions. He's being palatable. He's not yelling at me. This is Bushmaster.
It's weird week.
Do they legalize the good stuff down there?
I agree with you, though, because it's getting so weird that we're all like, should we be fighting anymore? Like this, you know what I mean? This is just getting weird.
That's what I'm saying. This is why, like, after this week, I do feel like there is a change of energy towards Donald Trump. And what's he going to do to fix this? He's not going to stop being crazy. He's descending into crazyville. He just his antics at court. Like, he cannot sit still at court. He can't stop from shouting in court. He storms out every single day. And I think that there's just people are, I'd imagine it's exhausting being MAGA, because you went from a guy who was like relatively coherent when he ran in 2016, and he's just progressively gotten worse. I heard him yesterday bragging again about passing the cognitive test for dementia. You don't take that test if people don't think you have dementia. Like, nobody asks, have any of you been asked to take that test ever? No, you only do that when you're exhibiting signs of dementia, which he clearly is. And then he gets up there and he's like, "I aced it." And then even the crowds are not as enthusiastic. They're regularly confused at his rallies.
When we're having a presidential election based on who has less dementia, that, you know what I mean? Like that.
What I'm looking at with Trump, like in 2016, or 2017, he said he was going to drain the swamp. You remember that?
Yeah, I think I vaguely remember him mentioning that every fucking 12 seconds. Yeah.
Right. And to date, there's no Clinton, Cheney, or Bush in office. And that, 50 fucking years? I mean, he started. So
when he took office, there was no Clinton or Cheney in office when he took office.
Liz Cheney?
Not Cheney, excuse me, Clinton or Bush. Sorry. There was no Clinton or Bush in office when he took. So it was just Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney, yeah.
I can't remember. Was Clinton senator? I thought she was the senator.
No, Clinton was senator, then she was Secretary of State, then she ran for president. Clinton hasn't held office in a long time.
Yeah, but she was Secretary of State when she ran for office. She was in office.
No, she wasn't in office when she was running as secretary. She had already stepped down from that position.
Oh, did she? Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
But again, then remember he also said, like, he was going to investigate Hillary, lock her up. Never did an investigation. There was no real crime there. Liz Cheney lost but Liz Cheney only lost because she didn't say nice things about Trump. She voted with Trump more than any other person in Congress. She was his best ally in Congress. That's how silly it is that MAGA ran her out, because if we're talking about what you guys wanted to get accomplished legislatively, she was your best ally. But because she also believed that Donald Trump was insane and engaged in an insurrection, you guys ran her out.
I don't know. I look at that whole situation and I look at what's going on now. Trump said he would do it, didn't do it, because that's like some Benito Mussolini shit. I think he made the right choice by not doing it. Whereas Biden is doing it. You know, I just don't like. I'm looking at it.
Are you saying Biden is draining the swamp?
No, he's going after his political opponent.
Well, he's not, though. I mean, that's a silly thing to say, right? He has completely stayed out of it. The Department of Justice, they're not supposed to take orders from the president, and there's no evidence that they're working with him at all. I mean, outside of Fonnie Willis's, or I guess what's his name, Nathan Wade, met with White House counsel, but White House counsel is not the president's attorney. It's the counsel for the White House. It's in order to make sure that what the president does is above board and it's legal. And they're also the people who would advise you on potentially like how you can prosecute a president or what things the president has to comply with. So outside of him meeting Nathan Wade meeting with the White House counsel, I think Biden has shown remarkable restraint. Like, he didn't shut down this investigation into his son. He could have done that at any time. I don't think he's he hasn't asked to go after Jared Kushner.
Well, you think so? I don't know about that. That was the day he was out of the White House, like he wasn't there. So,
Kushner? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just hard to believe that.
After.
Yeah, it's just hard to believe
the day after. Do you know how long wire transfers take? You know how long it takes to transfer $2 billion? It's not like, oh, that happened well after and it wasn't in the works. You don't just drop $2 billion in someone's ATM in an ATM.
Yeah, but that's how much you pay for it.
Oh man, your internet sucks. Your internet's brutal right now. Let me do this. We're gonna jump into the show. If you get better internet, come back, man. Well, I'd love to talk to you on this level again. This was actually enjoyable. So come back anytime.
Later, Gator.
See you, dude. All right, let's jump into it. That's all I'm saying is that I think that like MAGA is worn out. And there's not really a whole lot to say anymore. And that's why
I agree with what you're saying.
And I'll be honest, I stole this from I didn't steal this take from Tommy.
Oh, this is not even your own idea.
No. It got me thinking about it because I respect Tommy.
Which Tommy are we talking about?
I know you're like me. You don't know anybody on TikTok, but Tommy's one of the few that I know.
Is he like the Tommy that debates?
Yeah.
Okay, Tommy the dude. Is
my dude. Yeah.
Okay, my dude. Yeah. Okay, I know who he is.
He was saying last night that he thought Donald Trump would be in jail, and I think that's possible. He's convinced of it. I think he said something like 96 or 97% sure, and it just got me thinking of like, am I being because I'm with Donald Trump, he's proved people wrong so many times. Like, he always defies what people think are going to happen. Nobody believes he's going to get done. Like, nobody thought he was going to win the Republican Party. Nobody thought he would be the nominee again. Like that, it was the most embarrassing exit possible from the White House. And now here he is again. Like, he defies expectations often. So I've been gun shy about making any sort of predictions, but I'm just looking at the energy. I'm looking at the people around him. They're falling off like crazy. Like, MAGA Mike Johnson just cut a deal with Congress. That was not Donald Trump did not want that. And half of the Republicans went along with it.
Well, let me just say something, though. Let's clarify that, because he didn't cut a deal. I mean, they cut a deal just to keep the lights on domestically, right? Like, the border stuff isn't settled. The the funding for Ukraine isn't settled. That's still all up in the air. But yeah, they're calling, Steve Bannon's calling for his head.
That's what I'm saying. When I say cut a deal, I mean
the CR, yeah.
Yeah, when I say cut a deal, I'm saying that he literally just did the CR, and that was the deal he made. When and now you have all the MAGA folks saying,
"Yep,
you betrayed us. How could you possibly do this?" And keep in mind, like for all of whoever MAGA is, they're still people who are employed. They still have friends. Like they have friends in the military. They have friends at the post office. They have friends that work for the federal government. They understand what this means for people if you shut down the government. And to hear MAGA say things like, let's just shut it down just so that Joe Biden
It's veterans
loses.
pay too this time. It was.
Yeah.
And they were just like, yeah, shut it down.
And then when they go to the internet and they go to their sources and they're like, all right, because this is what happens. If you hear something you don't like, you'll go and try and figure out a way to like it. We all have confirmation bias. We all have our own biases. So you'll find a way to like it. What I'm seeing now is that MAGA has a hard time finding reasons to support what Donald Trump is saying. He's so far off in crazy land that you really can't cut. Like, what's the defense? How are you possibly going to defend the SEAL Team 6 thing? And usually with Donald Trump, he would maybe walk that back, but he's doubling down on it everywhere he goes. It's getting stronger and stronger. At first, it was like, oh, you should have immunity for certain things. Now it's like absolute immunity for literally everything. You can never prosecute a president. And that's where we're at now. I don't know. I think that there's enough MAGA that, like, I don't think that they'll ever turn on him, but I think the energy is deflating. You saw what happened in Iowa. His rallies aren't what they looked like before. Nikki Haley, who's the most uninspirational human possible, is at least close to him in New Hampshire. I think she's going to lose New Hampshire. Then she's going to get blown out in South Carolina. But there's no energy there. Like it's falling out. You have when Laura Loomer is elevated, when Steve Bannon is elevated, there's just too many people in this world that recognize those people as crazy for me to accept that Donald Trump is going to make it. His health looks bad. His mental acuity is gone. He's going to lose that Georgia case.
He's off message, especially for this time in the election. Like, I mean, I was going to say his campaign advisors or political strategists must be upset. But then I was like, wait a minute, he doesn't listen to anyone. But
I think it's worse than that.
No, wait, let me just say there was one speech about I think it was like 5 or 6 speeches ago, still in Iowa, where he did the pivot that was supposed to happen, right? Like, okay, the Iowa caucus is coming to an end. You need to start appealing to independence, like stop it with this dictator stuff. And he said, they asked him about the dictator thing, and there was one speech he had a pivot, and he said, I'm going to be so busy, drilling for oil, all this, I won't have time to be a dictator. He walked it back a little bit and acted a little sane. And the next day, he stopped. And we're at the point in the campaign where, like we said yesterday, he should be stopping with the abortion stuff. He should be moving back towards the middle and appealing to independents and moderate Democrats. And he's not doing that.
Yeah. And by the way, when I was going to interject on the campaign advisors, I think it's different than that. I don't think his campaign advisors are upset. I think they're stupid, and they do whatever he says. He has gotten rid of anybody in his life that will give him good advice. Everybody that's around. Look at his lawyer. She's a moron. She's getting laughed out of court. She's
bad.
She's a joke. Like, history will look back at this moment, and history will look back at Donald Trump as an embarrassing failure of American democracy. There is nothing. Listen, those tax cuts, the record high stock market that he had, that's already been beat. The previous president had the record high stock market. The things that he brags about, the things that MAGA brags about, those are not things that go down in history.
Oh, yeah. Tell me
what the stock market was under Hoover, JFK. You know what I mean? Like, nobody knows. Bill Clinton, what was the number? Nobody knows. What's Bill Clinton remembered for? Being impeached, largely. Despite the fact that he was a pretty talented governor, he was a pretty effective leader, he will go down in history being remembered as somebody who was impeached for the Monica Lewinsky thing. What will George Bush be remembered for? 9/11 and his response. What will Obama be remembered for? Obamacare. What's Trump going to be remembered for? All of this He will, and it will be embarrassing. He will not be remembered well. And I've said it a million times. The MAGA folks, they will distance themselves from that. They will lie to their families about how much they loved Donald Trump. And there will be a few hangers on.
For sure.
And those will be the crazy uncles at Thanksgiving. They're like, hey, for God's sakes, do not bring up Donald Trump. Don't bring it up.
The issue is people hate change, right? And that's what you see with the conservative movement. It's the reaction to change, or like having to face truths, right? And right now you can dig your heels in and fight against it, but I think even when we see people like David and Gorilla, it's like systemic racism. It's not in 50 years, that's no longer a debate. Trump's on the wrong side of everything. Roe v. Wade, that's not going to be, whether or not women have autonomy, or people with uteruses have autonomy over their bodies. That's 50 years from now. Like this is not going to, this is not going to age well. These takes people have.
Yeah. MAGA will be remembered as an extremist movement, a movement to undo, the advances that we've made as a society, like as a culture. That's how they will be remembered. Again, 20 years from now, all of your kids, every one of these MAGA people with kids, some of their kids will be trans. All of their kids will have trans friends. They will not be able to stand on this.
For sure.
They will be publicly shamed for this. They will change their minds, most of them, and some of them will hold on to it, and they'll move out to the backwoods of Alabama, and where they can just say those things to their 8 friends. But that's how he will be remembered. And I think I do think that's starting to set in with MAGA. I think they know that.
It is.
I think they know that, like, they're in Crazyville now.
Because you can't listen, the bottom line is no one would ever tell, like back when the Constitution was, a white male landowner, they couldn't self-actualize. It's the same thing with any other American citizen. We all need to be allowed to self-actualize. If you don't believe that, you're on the wrong side of history, period, right? Like, is America about freedom of choice or not? So I definitely agree. This is not going to, definitely.
Currently not for some people.
Exactly.
But just look, MAGA, look at who your leadership is. Look at the people whose voices are getting the most attention and the most love from Donald Trump. It's the crazies. Vivek Ramaswamy is a crazy. Somebody messaged me the other day on Twitter, just at
He's crazy, just
and they're
full
like,
stop.
Yeah, and they were like, "How do you not like Vivek?" I was like, "Well, I don't like fashion." They're like, he is the closest thing we've had to a libertarian since Ron Paul. Like, what the fuck? Like, the fuck are you talking about? This guy's just like an open fascist, and I think and that guy now is getting some play. You're gonna have Elise Stefanik. How did she get into Trump's good graces? She was a moderate. She stood against Trump. She was fairly moderate on all her beliefs. How did she get in Trump's good graces? She changed all of her beliefs. How did Carrie Lake get in Trump's good graces? Just worship the ground that he walked on. How'd Marjorie Taylor Greene get elected? By running on Trump. Just running, like, I love Trump.
By following children who had been in mass tragedies around and filming herself screaming at them. That's right. The other thing. Like, and I hate to say this because, Second Amendment people love you, but like 85-15 issue, like looking back when your children grow up and they all have PTSD from fearing being in school, and in any moment someone's going to enter their school and possibly unalive them. We're all on the wrong side of that issue. We're sitting here, the number one unaliver of children in the United States of America is mass tragedies, and we are all sitting here on the wrong side of that issue. I'm not suggesting we abolish the Second Amendment, but I'm saying us not legislating to save children's lives, we're on the wrong side of that every second that goes on. And we have to answer to the even Gen Z who have grown up in fear in schools. Like, that is the legacy we have left.
Yeah. And again, that will make this movement seem so bizarre. Like, it will be a very interesting study for people, 20, yes. 30, 40 years down the road. It'll be a section in history and be like, here's something we call the MAGA movement, and thank God it didn't work. And I do like, after this week, I actually have restored hope in American democracy and in Americans in general. Because we're finding out there's a line, and I think that line is being pushed more and more towards sanity, where for a while I was getting really nervous about the state of this country when we had person after person coming on after Agenda 47 came out and be like, yeah, fascism's a good thing. And there's still going to be those that say fascism's a good thing, but man, I gotta say, having Bushmaster on here being like, yeah, that's crazy.
It's the same thing with the border. Like, now I think Democrats are saying, okay, let's do something about the border. And now we're seeing the person who's actively working against anyone being able to help the crisis at the southern border is Donald Trump and the House Republicans. And when you have a woman, and again, here we go, 2 children being unalived, drowning while Texas state officials refuse to let anyone help them. I mean, you can't debate which side is the right side of that. That's our legacy now. It's heartbreaking.
And it is beautifully coinciding. And I don't think it's a coincidence that this MAGA extremist movement is going to go down in flames at the same time that a bunch of conservative white boomer men are like they're also fading into obscurity. I think like it's happening at the same time. You have all these people who are seeing their own lives start to fade. Their own mortality is very present to them, and they desperately want to believe that the world is not changing. And so that, like, you're seeing the last gasps of
it's the death rattle, as they call it.
Exactly, the death rattle of boomers. This is their last attempt, but they're getting tired because they're old and they've been staying up too late.
Change waits for no one. Exactly. And yes, someone in the comments, I'm sorry I didn't catch who said this, but it goes along perfectly with what we're saying about being on the wrong side of history, with the number one unaliver of children being mass tragedies. Yes, Merrick Garland released a detailed report yesterday on Uvalde. They investigated what happened there, and it's a disgrace. If you want to, it's 50 on our, I highlighted the Hill article where they did like some takeaways, which I honestly I couldn't read the more detailed stuff because it's just know it. I mean, this stuff is horrible. This is our legacy. Everyone should read the report of Uvalde and say, hey, it's more important for me to have, to not regulate in any way these weapons. And this is the legacy of that. This is what happened to these children.
Yeah, briefly, the 5 takeaways were: failures of safety and training set the table for the disaster. Then law enforcement read the situation wrong with fatal results. Officers delayed outside classrooms while children were unalived inside. Epic lapse of command left officers rudderless. And failures of communication hamstrung the police response and sowed lasting public distrust.
I just want to give you guys an idea of how bad it is, though. Like the first one, when it said failures of safety and training set the table for the disaster, what they're saying, how bad this is they interviewed a bunch of police in that police department who had never been handed or seen a training manual of any kind. There was no training.
If their investigation had found that all of the police officers had been handed a training manual but had never done any actual training, that would also have been a failure.
Yeah.
Like they're so far past where failure should have been. The failure should have been like that they didn't practice this, that there were no training exercises. But not only were there no exercises, there wasn't a manual, there wasn't even a discussion. So and look, I can understand as an officer how when that day finally came and you had no training that you may be unsure of what to do. It has completely thwarted the good guy with the gun principle. There were a lot of good guys with guns and they were standing around doing nothing because they weren't prepared for that.
Yeah. And I do suggest everyone look into this. I mean, if you want to use it for talking points in a debate, I mean, it's sickening. And I think this is the point. Like, things are now happening in this country. It's getting bad enough where things are occurring that are just we can't debate right and wrong between these things. Do we care about children's lives or not? Are we going to do something to stop this or not?
And this is the level that you have to get to now, and another reason why I think MAGA is struggling is this is another place where I think the MAGA folks are confronted. They're confronted with something they've been taught their whole life, that being more restrictive on weapons wouldn't fix anything, and yet we've done that. We've done their way. That we've been doing their way for decades now, and it's getting worse, and it's worse now than it's ever been before. And we have more pew-pews in circulation than ever before, which the NRA said was the solution, which Republicans have told us for decades is the solution. Have more pew-pews. Like, not less, more. More is better. More will fix this. Well, more is not fixing this. When we said there was a correlation, not we, actually, I was on the other side of this argument, so I'm not going to say we. When liberals said that there was a correlation between access to these weapons and these mass tragedies, I was on the other side of that as well, saying, no, that's not the problem. Stop blaming the object, blame the person. Well, unfortunately, like, I can still look at it and say I'm blaming the person, but I can also recognize that the proliferation and the availability of these weapons getting into the hands of children has exacerbated the problem. And I think that I've said this maybe for a year now since we've been doing this, that eventually even the moderates would go first, but eventually even the conservatives, the ones that love their 2A, even some of them now are coming out and saying, like, all right, enough is enough. Do I need an AR? No. What could I possibly need it for? The argument of protecting yourself from a tyrannical government, you don't have the capability. There's not a weapon on earth that you can obtain that will give you the ability to fight back against a tyrannical government.
Against the number one arms dealer in the world.
Yeah,
Give up.
It's not an option. So I think that enough people recognize that sounds good. It sounds like you're just being constitutional, but your excuse for being constitutional is ending up with mass tragedy after mass tragedy after mass tragedy. And I just imagine, as a MAGA, it's got to be really fucking heavy right now. It's got to be exhausting trying to defend all the worst positions.
Well, that's why I say I can't hear it anymore. They stop saying, "Oh, we need to protect the children from the left." You guys are not protecting any children. At every turn, you're putting children in harm's way. We have children drowning, trying to get across rivers, and if they don't do that, the other option is they can be trafficked, and we're arming the cartels with weapons from America who are doing that. We are protecting no children.
This was a devastating article to read. It wasn't surprising.
Really sick.
I gotta say, I think Merrick Garland's the best attorney general of my lifetime. For a lot of reasons, not necessarily, like, he's an okay speaker, but he cares deeply about doing things the right way. He cares deeply about rebuilding the reputation of the Department of Justice.
Yeah.
And I think he's doing a phenomenal job, because every accusation that's been lobbed at him from the right, they have allowed those investigations to go forward. He hasn't prevented them. He goes and he testifies in front of Congress, and every single time it is shaken out that he did the right thing. I think he's the best attorney general that I can remember in my lifetime. Maybe Janet Reno. Was she attorney general?
Not Janet Reno. Oh, good Lord. No, yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty amazing just how Biden kept a lot of people Trump had, but also has people loyal to him who, knowing, right, when Biden went into office, they all had a pretty good idea they were probably going to be impeached or, called to Congress to testify over and over and over. Like, I'm also impressed with Christopher Wray, how he shows up and just is like, here's the facts, and any of these people could resign. And, Mayorkas, like, they knew accepting these jobs, what was coming for them. And they've hung in there. They've been transparent. They answer the questions. I feel like Mayorkas has really helped me grasp, I love that too, what's happening at the border, and, like, made me more active and, like, want to get involved with the Republicans and say, okay, this is a humanitarian crisis, not just that, but mass migration as a result of climate crisis and things isn't going to stop. Like, we need to address it. And that has a lot to do with things I learned specifically for watching Mayorkas and other witnesses testify about the border.
Yeah, I also think it's more evidence that Joe Biden knows what he's doing when he hires people. Not just that he hires the best
Amen.
people, but more importantly, he hired the right people for the moment. Joe Biden knew not to bring in somebody that was going to be a bull in the china shop. He didn't want disruptors in his administration. He's taken people that are willing, like in the face of conflict, he hired people almost exclusively that in the face of conflict remain calm, remain fact-based, remain staying on point. I think when you look at it, even Kamala, she's done a good job with the amount of criticism she faces. You never see her doing a Trump. You never see her out there complaining about how she's being.
I was gonna say, if it was us, we'd be like melting down, in congressional hearings, like throwing figs at people.
Yeah, Mayorkas just sits there and takes that abuse day after day after day.
Restates, reframes, stays calm. Christopher Wray, I don't know how that man, like talking about the ghost buses with Clay Higgins. I don't know how they do it, but yeah, like they show people like what leadership is.
When Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. Like, I do think that that's been a theme of the Biden presidency. And I think that theme has carried across throughout the party. For maybe people don't feel like Biden has been a good leader for the country. And maybe people don't even view Joe Biden as the leader of the Democrat Party. And that's, I think, the sign of a good leader.
That is a good leader. I was going to say, people don't know what a leader is. Like, if you're looking for a strong man, an authoritarian dictator, that's not leadership. Leadership is about delegation. It's about seeing a vision, understanding how to put the right person in the right place and trust them to do their job. That's what a CEO does. That's what a leader does. And that's what you see Joe Biden doing. Joe Biden, our government is running like it is. Our economy has turned around because he put the right people in the right place and let them go to work. Yeah. Trump is trying to do everything by himself. He trusts no one. Every 5 seconds he's replacing people. Like, there's no synergy there.
Yeah, there's an identifiable culture in the Democrat Party. There's an identifiable culture with the Biden administration, and that, like, whatever your culture is, because different cultures are more effective at different times or in different scenarios, but whatever your culture is, and one thing you learn when building a business and trying to build a culture, that was always my role. So I've just, not that I'm great at it.
You are good at it. You're good at building a team.
Sure, that was my role. And so I've studied a lot about like what makes a good culture. And one of the things is that if you have a good culture, people will be able to identify it. So when they hear what your core values are, that will ring true to them. And I think that's what the Biden administration's core values are, right? They're going to be transparent. They're going to be calm. They're going to be I don't want to say monotone, but they're going to be on message. They're going to be directive driven. They're going to be goal driven, and they're not going to deviate from that.
Walk softly, carry a big stick.
Yeah, and we know Hunter Biden is carrying a big stick.
Well, listen, one of the best leaders I ever knew, like when I worked in the tech industry, it was like my boss's boss's boss. He wasn't the CEO, but he said something to me once. He's like, Felice, you're a star. He's like, you see me as a leader, but my job as a leader is just to put you in the right place and remove obstacles from your way. He's like, because you can accomplish anything. He's like, my job is to just, when you have a problem, to solve it for you and let you work. And it's like, that's what I think Joe Biden does really well.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got to put somebody in place to fix Bushmaster's internet.
The broadband, the broadband hasn't reached, the Infrastructure Act has not reached that part of Alabama. But Tommy Tuberville did take credit for it. Tommy Tuberville took credit for the Alabama broadband that is being installed from the Infrastructure Act. Did you see? We didn't even talk about it yesterday. Sorry.
Dusteroni's here. Oh, sorry about that. What's up?
I'm sorry to substitute myself in for Bushmaster. Let me hook up my headphones quick. I didn't expect you to transfer to me so promptly.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was you. I actually thought it was still Bushmaster, so I just clicked it. I thought it was Bushmaster back in the thing. I didn't even pay attention.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, how are you guys doing, by the way? I don't want to be rude.
Wonderful. Great. How are you?
Okay. Excellent. 675 people. That's pretty good so far for a little start.
Guys, tap the
So
screen. Let's get to 100K.
yeah, there we go. So I guess as a conservative all my life, I obviously identify the issues that we have with Trump, and it turns me off from the Republican Party. There's no denying that. You have to be pretty deluded to vote for Trump. But if you're all and out conservative, you do see some things in the rural community that are a little bit alarming. And then what I mean by
what are you talking? I'm not in a rural community, so I may not be aware
yeah,
of that.
no, yeah, and I understand that. You guys are city people, I bet. So,
That's right.
yeah. So, I own a few acres, farmland, and there's this kind of sense that Democrats are pushing the Democratic Party is pushing for an election for this election, right? But what is the main plan for the future? Like as it pertains to how they can serve the rural community.
Yeah, look, the best thing, in my opinion, that could happen. I mean, there's a lot of things that need to help the rural community. Number one, like as much as we've mocked Donald Trump for bailing out farmers, like we do need to subsidize rural farms. What if a farmer cannot make money and cannot create a living with their farm in rural areas because of whatever, what infrastructure, because of transportation, because of cost to seed, I believe that the government should fund that. I believe that they should be subsidized. I believe that having food grown here in America, food that is free from, specifically like when you're talking about factory farms, free from pesticides, free from contamination. Yeah. I'm a big fan of that. And I think that historically, the hyper-industrialization and hyper-capitalism is what has actually decimated these rural areas. And I think sometimes the rural areas think that it's liberals, or maybe they might blame conservatives, but the truth is it's capitalism. Capitalism is what's hurting you. And so while we're going to live in a capitalist society, we're not going to change societies. But while we make changes, it's important that we don't forget about these rural areas. So I believe that not only do you guys in rural areas do farms deserve subsidies, but I also think that healthcare in rural areas is often a big problem. In rural areas, a lot of people are self-employed or they work for small businesses. And generally speaking, you're not going to have great healthcare options for your insurance, and you may not have great healthcare options in and around your town. So you need to be able to have your healthcare taken care of. You need to know that if something happens on your farm, you're not going to bankrupt your family. You're not going to lose your farm because you broke your leg. Right? So we need to add protections for rural America, but those protections can be had with things like universal health care and farm subsidies. I think that's the way forward. And I think that when we get out of this this MAGA world where Democrats are just like evil P3DOs. I think when we get out of that, I think Democrats and Republicans are going to agree we need to take care of rural America. And what's hurting rural America? They can't afford it.
It's
right?
I think in hyper rural areas that are very, very isolated, absolutely. I think so. Within an hour of any large urban area, you still have pretty rural areas. And what I'm seeing as I live in one of those places is that there's an urban sprawl that's happening, and there's a development to serve the urban areas. Like for instance, there's a larger electrical company that's moved into my area, and they are basically lobbying all of the leaders in the surrounding towns to give up their farmland for these large solar farms that make the land inaccessible because they fence them off, not only to people but to the wildlife that we depend on out here for food, and farmland, like
What
cows
state do you
and
live in?
pigs. Minnesota. And
Minnesota,
I
okay.
actually
Yeah.
I like Minnesota.
We talked about this. I remember.
I like Minnesota. I do like a lot of I think Minnesota is kind of like the ideal, except for these few things that I have an issue with.
Yeah, what's his name? Holes, your governor?
Tim Walz.
Tim Walz. Yeah, he's
yep.
amazing. You guys
I
are
don't
doing
like
great things
Emmer.
with school lunches. Yeah,
I don't like
Emmer's lost. Emmer's, bless his heart. He's lost. He's being, they're pushing him around in the
Oh my
House,
gosh.
right? They're really
Trump
pushing him around.
smeared.
He's
Trump
like doesn't know
smeared
what he
at him
believes.
and he
Yeah,
folded.
he's having a
That was
crisis of
crazy.
conscience. But you guys have some great state politicians. I'm going to mispronounce. Who's the Senate? Klobuchar. Love her.
Klobuchar, Amy Klobuchar.
Yeah, and last time we talked, I'm remembering now, like I told you, my grandfather, my mother's father, he owned a farm, a ranch/farm in southern Minnesota. So I understand. And he became a Democrat and was involved in farmers co-ops. And so, I do exactly, and was like a huge advocate for farmers coming together and getting farm subsidies. And he ran like a large farmers co-op with local farmers in that area. So I'm very passionate about that. And I think that farm subsidies and just subsidies for co-ops in general that give small business owners a chance to join together and have a larger co-op that can compete with these larger capitalistic corporations. That's what we need. I mean, we have to, because I can't stand like small business owners being forced out. I'm just as passionate about that as I know a lot of Republicans are as well. That is an issue of capitalism. We have to make sure that people can enter the market and compete as a small business. And if that's banding together to form larger co-ops and the government encouraging and subsidizing that, because middle America, I love the move because co-ops, subsidies, things like that are very progressive. Minnesota's become a very progressive state, and farming needs to be protected. Absolutely.
I agree. I just actually saw a comment here, and it kind of addresses what we're battling. So there's a perception that this wide open land we have here is unused, or serves no purpose, and so why not turn it into these inaccessible patches of solar panels and whatever to serve the greater good. And I love the idea of serving the greater good, but not, I mean, we can't deny that there's a decimation of rural land that is a continuation from generations of policy to support capitalistic development. And that seems to be kind of my biggest issue.
With this land that you're talking about, are you saying like the government's offering to, like, are they going to lease the land from private owners, or what are they asking for? Are they asking? I can't imagine they're asking for farmers to just donate the land, right? I assume they're either getting a buyout or some sort of lease.
It's a buyout. So what they're doing, right now I live in a very scenic river valley area. And what they're doing is they're sending in lobbyists to talk to, the town leadership and, offer them money and resources to buy up this land and turn it into a developed, inaccessible 1,000-acre here, 1,000-acre there solar farm. And
Gotcha.
These are protected wildlife lands and refuges, some of the biggest in the United States, actually. And they're kind of being threatened by this. And I see there are other solutions, so I wonder why this is becoming the fight we have to fight.
That's hard to say. I think I would be, if I was a farmer, if I had that land, I think I would be far more likely to try and negotiate some sort of lease. I don't want to lose the value of my land. I don't want to lose my net worth. So I would negotiate a lease, and I would imagine that that negotiation could happen with the state, and the state's probably offering a buyout because they know that long term it's better for them. Look,
Yep.
there's going to be issues. It's going to be tricky. Switching over from fossil fuels to renewable energy has all sorts of barriers. But when I look at what's happening in your town, I think that these are problems that we could find solutions to. Maybe not everybody will be happy, but it's a step. It's actually going somewhere. It's actually trying to make a change that impacts all of us.
Yeah,
right?
no, I agree. I support that.
Yeah.
I support that. No, I agree. I think it is going to be tricky. I personally support point of use changes to the infrastructure where people are having their own private.
You said these are
production.
protected wildlands. So are
Yep.
people farming these lands currently? But then they're
Yes.
protected from what? From hunting? And
So they own part of it, and so they own large swaths of land that butts up against the river valley. Okay, so part of it they use for farming, and part of it they leave wild, so that the wildlife has kind of a place to move in and out of the developed areas.
okay,
So-
and with these projected solar farms, essentially, it would take up it would build over the top of that. Is that right?
Yeah, and not to mention they can do whatever they want with their state land, which is also undeveloped. So
What wildlife are we talking about? Because I'm
we're talking-
anti-caribou.
no, we don't have caribou here.
Keep them in
we-
Canada.
Yeah, we do have a couple elk that come down every once in a while, but mostly it's moose and white-tailed deer. Geese.
You got geese?
Yep, geese.
Get
Gotta
them the fuck
protect
out.
the geese.
Listen, we don't do geese on this channel. We are
Well, but-
anti-Canadian geese on this channel.
Well, the golf courses, yeah, we get them out of there. The
Now we're
beaches,
talking.
we get them out of there. Damn geese shitting all over everything. But
Right.
okay,
Poisoning
yeah,
the blood
so
of this country, I say.
There are also
Where's Josh?
a large black bear population that is dwindling because of the development. So these are all valuable. These are all valuable food sources for rural Americans out here. We don't always want to go to the grocery store. You know, I know that's probably hard to understand for people that live in the city. Like we like to supply our own.
I grew
food.
up. I grew up with we had the beef that we ate used to be one of our cows. You know, we had horses,
Yeah,
we had chicken.
okay.
So I'm used to that. And my family, I don't really like hunting, but my family hunted.
Same.
So we'd
Same.
eat duck, we'd eat quail, we'd eat pheasant, we'd eat deer, geese, Canadian geese.
Yeah,
That's right,
yeah,
Canadian
get
geese.
them Canadian
Listen up.
geese. Get them.
Yeah. So no, I'm familiar with that style of life, and I'm
I
not
haven't
opposed
even-
to that.
I haven't even mentioned that we have some of the most pristine like wildflower populations here, and the bee population depends on it. And we're seeing the numbers of bees dwindle with the development in the area, and we're seeing a lot of the wild native plants slowly recede.
Well, look,
that's a
I'd
big
imagine
problem.
that most of that is due to industrialization. These type of
Sure.
if we're putting in
Yep.
solar farms, if we can get to a clean energy, we may see some of that stuff restored, and it might not be exactly where you. I mean, I don't mind talking about this, but I don't really feel like we're going to come up with a solution there.
Sure,
I understand
sure,
that
sure,
issue,
sure,
but
sure.
I guess my question
main
is, do you?
point- Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, my main point of bringing all of this BS up is that I want to feel like if the Democratic Party is moving for everyone and not just the hyper development of urban areas, I want to see that they are not missing the forest because of the trees. You know what I mean? Like you guys are trying to get Biden elected, right? But where is the plan after that and after that? You know, for my
Well, it
kids.
starts with you joining us, right? It's hard for us to voice your voice. It's hard for us city folk to voice the voice of rural America, and it's also hard for us to necessarily understand what that is and even be aware of that. So it also starts with rural America recognizing that this plan that they have right now, where rural America largely votes red, that's not working for them. Right,
Yeah,
farmers are
that.
struggling more and more. These lands are being taken up anyways. Like none of this stuff that they're voting for is working for them. So if they want a seat at the table, if they want their voice to be heard, then they probably ought to join with the side that's winning. First of all, because like if you don't show up, you don't go show up to those rallies, you don't go show up to Democrat meetings, you are going to be forgotten. And so part of that is going to have to be rural America at least coming together and being like, all right, look, clean energy is the way to go. We do have to talk about that. We do need to talk about what we're going to do for health insurance. We do need to talk about sustainability. We do need to talk about like urban sprawl,
preservation.
We've got to talk about all this. But if you're not at the table, nobody's going to hear you.
The progressive agenda is all about climate change, preservation. Like I would do research, especially there's tons of there's a huge progressive movement about, climate crisis, preservation of land, of forest, of, like you said, bee destabilization. That is a huge, I actually know a lot about bee destabilization. That's a serious issue that also has a lot to do with climate crisis that is part of the progressive agenda, believe it or not. So I
believe it.
I
know I've never heard Republicans give a about bee destabilization.
No, they don't. You're right. And it seems like I'm kind of disenfranchised by the current Republican Party, and I think it's that I'm uneasy to just jump on board with the winning side, as you say, when I see very pertinent issues also from I guess the urban support of capitalism.
Well, look, we're here to be your lube. We're going to ease you into the Democrat Party. That's our role here. Okay, I want you to know.
Give your balls a tug, Jesus. All right, man. Well, thanks for the time. I'll catch you two later.
Well. Stay warm. Do your best.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Bye. That should be our new catchphrase.
Stay
RCP
warm.
Media. We're the lube to liberalism.
I started choking for a second when you said that. I did not see that coming, I will say. Well, get it?
Get used to it. All right, let's get to some news here. Jen messaged me, and she's trying to keep up with what we post. She's like, what all have we covered so far? I'm
no
like, one
idea.
thing,
We're just like
number
staggering
50.
around, like just saying things. I mean, did we, I'm unclear, did we talk about Laura Loomer? Like, did we finish that? We kind of touched on several things. We talked about margarine, like the pipe bomber stuff. That's done. We talked about passing the CR with the continued resolution. I'm just looking at the top of we did cover some things.
I would like to talk about to get back into things. It'll ease us in. Let's go with something sane and simple like Clay Higgins.
Oh my God! Clay Higgins is not okay.
Clay Higgins
he tries to fight people.
Yeah, he's every one of my uninformed Republican friends, where their solution always boils down to like if there's a problem, it's always like something violent, right? If they don't like what's like for example, like if we're talking about any sort of trans issue, and like they're not going to talk about any science, and if I try and go down that road with them, they'll all say something along the lines of, yeah, that's why we gotta bring back spanking kids. Because, like everything to them boils down to, if we're violent enough, we will get our way. And I think that's who Clay Higgins is, which is probably why he got elected where he's at. But, I mean, it's...
Louisiana.
Not only is it insane, it's fucking stupid.
Well, actually, and the interesting thing is he said this yesterday after the border hearing happened, where the witness testified to the exact opposite of this and literally explained how if we want to stem the flow of people coming to the southern border, one of the absolute, worst things we could do was create a conflict in Mexico. Because there's no scenario where more illegal immigration would then happen.
So, for context, Clay Higgins was asked after their hearing yesterday, they said, Congressman Higgins, you filed articles of impeachment on Secretary Mayorkas last year, and your committee is now actually impeaching him. But what exactly would you do to secure the border? What's your plan? Great question. Fair question. Good media member, whoever that was, asking a very detailed and good question. And Clay Higgins is going to give a thoughtful answer. He said, my plan begins with F-35s and gets better. Meaning, just so you guys, I'll interpret Republican for you. He doesn't have a plan. There's no plan. But if he says something that kind of sounds tough, that plays with the Republican Party. So just to be clear,
the plan's war.
If we were serious about this, we're just going to go. What are we going to use those F-35s for?
War.
Provide. No, I think he maybe means they're going to do like an air show.
Yeah,
maybe provide
just
some
fly
entertainment.
around. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like a flyover before a football game.
Yeah,
maybe that's what
exactly.
he's saying.
Just deter. It's for deterrence. Mm-hmm. The fuel in an F-35 it costs like $1 million just to start turning it on. But
everybody at the border is tired of just seeing the same scenery, so we're gonna change it up for him. We're gonna give him a show down there. That's what he's saying.
The one thing we've learned is that destabilizing. Yeah, the one thing we've learned for sure. The only thing we know about the border is that we spent like 3 to 4 decades destabilizing, being involved in military conflict south of here, and that has led people to being here. So his solution is to do the thing that started all of this and has created the problem, to just do it in Mexico.
White Republican men, as I know well and was one of them, when in doubt, pretend to be tough. And that'll sell. Just if you don't know the answer to the question, just pretend to be tough. Say something that makes it sound like you're not afraid to go to war, and that works. That's good enough for them.
It just gets better from there. Like Clay Higgins starts with F-35.
I wish we would have had the follow-up.
Better.
What gets
it's
better?
ghost buses.
Everything.
The ghost buses come in, and you know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. It's the ghost buses.
Starts with F-35s. Then we bring in ghost buses full of soldiers. Then we're gonna bring in the Dementors from Azkaban. Yeah, like,
we don't even
just
have
keeps
serious
getting
people.
better.
We don't have serious people that even work in our government. The Republic, it's like, Clay, do you listen during the hearings? The witness just testified to the exact opposite. It doesn't even matter. That's what's so scary about this.
That's the funny thing. If you ever watch these hearings, if you watch when people aren't speaking, most of the time they've just got their staff around them and they're reading things. Nobody listens to anybody in Congress. Is entirely performative.
It is.
I love that it's broadcast on C-SPAN, but it's almost worse because I'm making. Hopefully, I'll make this video. I've been awful this week. I said I was going to make a bunch, but Ted Cruz was just a complete dickbag yesterday. I don't know if you saw what he went off on yesterday.
No, I didn't see what Ted Cruz was up to yesterday.
Okay. So they're appointing, or they're confirming judges, and there is a judge who is Muslim. I can't remember what country originally their family was from, but a Muslim judge who has donated money and sat on the board of an organization that says some pretty pro-Palestinian things. And so, of course, that's going to disqualify this judge from and Ted Cruz read off the quotes from this nominee. And some of the quotes were literally like, Israel is an occupying force in Gaza. And he's like, can you believe that? It's
just
like,
facts.
Yeah, like, you're just saying shit that is true. Like, so he's reading, and what Ted Cruz was doing, it was almost, remember, what was that guy, the pastor, Obama's pastor, what was his name?
Oh, I can't remember.
Shit, somebody's going to have it in the comments, that they loved quoting. That's basically what he's trying to do, is he's trying to do guilt by association. Yeah, Roger Ailes, thank you.
Oh.
Not Roger.
No,
not Roger
Ailes is the Fox guy. I was like, isn't he like the diddler from Fox?
Reverend Wright, yeah. What was his first? Anyways, so he's trying to do this guilt by association. I'll just find it. It was absolutely absurd.
No, I have an issue. That's the thing with America, like freedom of religion. But, oh, by the way, we're only talking about Christianity. Like, we're only good. That only applies to Christianity. It's like when there was that radicalized sect of Catholicism, and someone wrote a note about an FBI agent wrote a note about it, and they were a criminal. But after 9/11, that we had the FBI infiltrating mosques. No one said a word about it. Like, the hypocrisy here is undeniable.
Let me see if I can find these. What's funny is he ran through these quotes, and Dick Durbin's the one running the hearing, and Dick Durbin calls it he says, I've been on this committee for a long time. This is the Senate Judiciary Committee, obviously, which is a serious committee. Like, you only put serious people on the Judiciary
because
Committee.
Lindsey Graham is the chairman. So is it serious?
Serious politicians.
I just had to say it. No, I'm just kidding. No, Lindsey Graham knows how to do his job in the Senate.
Yeah.
You know, he's much better than his counterpart in the House, Jim Subpoena Dodger Jordan.
Yeah. So Dick Durbin at the end is like, I can't believe that Ted Cruz basically goes in and says, these are the quotes from this guy, and therefore, or these are quotes from somebody else. I think it's Mustafa Kasubai is the name of the judge here. Then Dick Durbin says that this is the first Muslim judge appointed to, I think, the Circuit 1 or First Circuit, and Ted Cruz obviously misses that part. He's like, this is not our first Muslim judge. You're a liar. Anyways, I'll find the clips and I'll play them on Monday. But Ted Cruz was just doing his typical dickery where they're trying to get a judge confirmed and he just goes guilty by association, but then just rattles off a bunch of very true things about Palestine and Israel. And they're not even incendiary. There's no like threat of violence. It's literally just people saying that like sometimes Israel is the bad guy. And Ted Cruz this video's 10 minutes long, takes 10 minutes talking about this. And this is, I don't remember how we got on this subject.
We were just shaming Ted Cruz, which I think should be a regular Friday activity. Just how can we shame Ted Cruz? Let's just hope we need to take these Fridays to shame him, because hopefully he's going to lose an election to Colin Allred. And we're never going to have to we'll never hear the end of him on X.
I dropped the video in the Discord. You guys can watch it. It's 8 minutes, but it's just...
can I talk about pregnant college students, please?
I've been telling you ever since we started working together. Can we please talk about pregnant college students?
No, well, there's been so much going on the Republicans have been messing up so much in the House that it's like, I don't know if you remember, but I put a couple videos like at the beginning of this week about Joe Neguse. He's a representative from Colorado, and he's in the Rules Committee, a genius. But he was tearing up Virginia Fox because what these people are trying to do is make information for women who become pregnant in college, like information about miscarriages, basic health information, like they're trying to prevent them from having it. So it's called let's see here if I can find it. House Resolution 6914, the Pregnant Students' Rights Act, which requires colleges and universities to inform pregnant women on campus of their rights and resources, particularly protections and accommodations available for them. So if you don't know anything about the Republicans, that sounds right. Like they're doing something good.
It sounds like it.
Doesn't it always, all these bills, it's like, oh, they're protecting pregnant college students and providing them information. What a great thing these people are doing. No, they're not. They're actually doing the opposite. Let me play, Hakeem Jeffries was on the House floor for 5 minutes.
This is making sense for another story I added, but do this and then I'll add to it.
Yeah, I just wanted to play some of his... Hakeem, I haven't been talking about Hakeem the Dream Jeffries lately, but I love the House Minority Leader. He is an orator. Always worth hearing him speak.
If the legislation that is under consideration was really about improving the opportunity for the children, the infants, the babies of America to live a healthy life, then extreme MAGA Republicans would join Democrats in our efforts to bring that about. House Democrats are trying to address the challenges around infant mortality in America, extreme MAGA Republicans refuse to join us. House Republicans could be working to deal with the challenges around child poverty in America, but they refuse to join House Democrats in our efforts to go back to the transformative child tax credit that was part of the 2021 American Rescue Plan. House Democrats are working to deal with the problem of child hunger in America, but extreme MAGA Republicans are trying to cut nutritional assistance for children and families in our great country. So how dare you come to the House floor to lecture America about healthy infants, healthy babies, healthy children, when you're doing everything in your power to do exactly the opposite.
So what they're trying to do now, I just want to make sure I'm explaining this correctly. So first of all, in the rules
Wait, real
committee,
quick, before you, when you
sorry.
explain, will you also just, I don't think Jen got the outline, so she can't post the links in the Discord. Will you just
sent
make
it
sure
to
she's
her.
shared on it? If for some reason she said she doesn't have access. Sorry.
Okay. Well, just give me 1 second and you can talk to yourself.
I'll just sit here and smile awkwardly like this. I'll do my best Ron DeSantis.
Do some ASMR or can you just tell everyone to tap the screen and share the live maybe?
Tap the screen, share the live. Look, we're at 136,000. And if you don't want to hear my voice telling you to tap the screen anymore, tap that screen. Let's get that up to 175 here pretty soon. Thank you for the cowboy hat. Sorry for the interruption. I didn't mean to take the wind out of your sails there.
So, well, let me just play the one other clip I want to play about this, and then I will explain why this is gross.
Okay.
Extreme MAGA Republicans rejected any effort to make sure that young women on college campuses were provided information about the full range of reproductive health care. Extreme MAGA Republicans rejected the effort to provide the young women of America with information about the dangers of a miscarriage. Extreme MAGA Republicans rejected the efforts by House Democrats to make sure that the young women of America were provided information about contraceptives. Why? Because House Republicans have only one objective: a nationwide abortion ban. And this legislation is part of that effort. And that's why instead of the Congress dealing with issues related to the economy or housing or inflation or public safety or health care, House Republicans have us voting on bills to undermine a woman's freedom to make her own reproductive health care decisions. And so I strongly urge everyone to reject this extreme piece of legislation and join us in trying to uplift women, children, and families in America. And our promise to the country.
Anywho, okay, so here's what's going on with, let me make sure I get the bill name right. I keep forgetting, Pregnant Students' Rights Act. So basically they are saying, which this makes no sense, they're compiling a list of services that can be offered to pregnant women in college. They don't want to give them information about contraceptives. They don't want to give them certain information about miscarriages or abortion. It's about, and then the information they are providing is just about, it's like, okay, so you're pregnant, so you 100% have to have this child. You know, they don't want to provide information about preventing pregnancy. And then once you're pregnant, they're like, okay, so how we're going to help, because we 100% are going to, you know, this is about forced birth, you know, people with uteruses and forced birth. So we'll just give them a list of resources because college people are destitute. So they're like making a list. And in the Rules Committee, if you guys don't know who Virginia Fox is, I believe oh, good Lord.
Oh, shut up! That's Virginia Fox.
A great impression of her.
Thank you.
I've never seen a person with a uterus go out of their way to undermine other people with uteruses in the way that this woman does. She's absolutely horrid. There's no other words. North Carolina, vote this woman out. So
Oh, go ahead. Keep
Oh
going.
no. So she's they just want to compile a list. Now on the list are things like WIC for women in crisis, SNAP, benefits like that. Now get this though. These are everything on the list that they'll hand out when they're forcing people with uteruses to give birth. They also are items that they are voting to eliminate. Right? This is the craziness about this. They passed a bill and they're going to hand out a list of services because you have a uterus. We're not going to provide you information about preventing pregnancy. Once you're pregnant, you have a uterus. We want to force you to give birth. Here's a list of resources because now you must have this child. Oh, but wait, all of us here that are providing this list, we're also working hard to vote against every single one of these items and make sure by the time this happens to you, they are no longer available to you.
Well, and if Andy Biggs wasn't a useless fuck that nobody ever listens to, do you know about, during this debate, the legislation that he tried to introduce yesterday?
Oh, women, infant, children. Thank you.
You know about that? He just thought, he's like, hey, I've got something to say. I'm Andy Biggs. I'd like to introduce some legislation today, too. He introduced legislation that what he says provides women an opportunity to review an ultrasound before proceeding with an abortion. However, the opportunity is a requirement.
Oh,
that
no,
women
they do that in
receive,
certain states. They do that in certain states,
and
like
now
in
Andy
Arizona.
Biggs wants this to be federal law, that women be required to stare at an ultrasound
to try to make you feel
before
bad.
They are allowed to have an abortion.
Yeah,
which
to
is
try
an
to guilt
insane
you.
thing to do, to try and manipulate. I mean, this is just pure manipulation. This is exposure. It's everything that they've always done to try and get people to not do things that they don't want them to do. Can you, like, as if that decision is not already hard enough for the woman, just then show them a picture of a fetus, and then have the doctor explain what this fetus is, and try and play to their emotions, and get them to make a decision that potentially could ruin their lives, so it forever alter their lives, put their own lives in jeopardy. We're not talking about whether or not, like, my fingernails are too long. We're talking about a procedure, and we're talking about a mother and infant mortality rate that is way too high for what's supposed to be the most powerful country in the world. We're talking about putting the mother's life at risk here, and you want to guilt them into doing that. That's the Republican Party of today. Guilt the mothers, and it doesn't matter how they became pregnant. It does not matter, because again, most of them, they only allow exceptions for those first 6 weeks anyways, or the first 15 weeks. It doesn't matter how this mother became, or potential mother became pregnant. It doesn't matter. We're going to shame them. We're going to make them feel even worse. That's the Republican plan. Guilt and shame. I wonder where that came from. Christians.
This has been going on in many states, and it's absolutely I used to volunteer for Planned Parenthood, and like there's different versions of this. Utah is one of the strictest, but I know in Arizona when I volunteered, it's like we had to put a woman who's going through a horrible time in a room with a little, like, it was like a portable DVD player. And it's like, okay, you don't have to stare at the screen, but we have to play this video with the volume on. Like, if you want to hum, stick your fingers in your ears, like, no one can stop you. Yeah, it's all meant to, like, guilt the woman, make them feel like to second guess their decision. The goal is provide them little information in colleges about contraception. You know, don't provide them information about terminating pregnancies, then give them a list of how we will help them out. That's the idea, because we want women or people with uteruses to give birth. So then here's a list of social services we're going to provide you with. But little do these people know, like I've said, that Republicans are actively trying to get rid of every one of these services that's on the list. Yay. And that counts, right? They voted and passed this bill last night. So that counts as a bill. Like this is nothing. So
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's my point. So even the bills, even the things they're doing mean nothing.
I want to play this reminded me, just a constant reminder that if you're out of your goddamn mind if you don't think that the Republican Party has a war on women. And that they despise women, and this is not about it's not about abortion. They can tell you it's about abortion all you want, but their messaging on women is very clear. And I want to play a clip that we didn't get here from the Charlie Kirk show.
Oh God.
He had on your favorite guest, Jack Posobiec, who, by the way, I was
Posobiec.
Yeah, Posobiec. Yeah. I was unaware of this. Did you know that recently I think his wife is pregnant, but within the last week or so, somebody found Jack Posobiec, because he travels a lot, and his wife stays home. Well, they found him on Bumble.
Oh, Jack is, or his wife is?
He's on Bumble.
I was like, I hope she saves herself. I haven't seen her on it. I'm so sorry for that woman.
And he's saying that it's like a psyop from lefties to try and take him down. That they're putting up fake Jack.
You and Jack Poso. That's what they call him. You can just call him Poso if you want. That's whatever.
Yeah, pussy. Yeah. Here's Charlie Kirk. Definitely doesn't have a problem with women, especially women who have different political ideologies than him. This is actually pretty insane. Charlie Kirk is gone full alt-righter. He's just red pill alt-righter, white nationalist. He's just given up on pretending that he's anything other than that. But
and it's a compilation made by the Tennessee Holler.
Sorry.
She's a narcissist. I don't think that she's very talented.
Excuse me. Sorry, they're talking about Taylor Swift. She's a narcissist.
She's nasty. She's ugly. Nobody likes her. Nobody likes her. She's like a teenage boy. Dudes don't like her. If you put her in front of she's ugly.
That's true. Is
so embarrassing.
I don't know if she had to start with.
In case you missed that, he said, "Does Taylor Swift have any eggs?"
I'm so sorry for that woman.
And he's saying that it's like a psyop from lefties to try and take him down. That they're putting up fake Jack.
You and Jack Poso. That's what they call him. You can just call him Poso if you want. That's whatever.
Yeah, pussy. Yeah. Here's Charlie Kirk. Definitely doesn't have a problem with women, especially women who have different political ideologies than him. This is actually pretty insane. Charlie Kirk is gone full alt-righter. He's just red pill alt-righter, white nationalist. He's just given up on pretending that he's anything other than that. But
and it's a compilation made by the Tennessee Holler.
Sorry. She's a narcissist. I don't think that she's very talented.
Excuse me. Sorry, they're talking about Taylor Swift. She's a narcissist.
She's nasty. She's ugly. Nobody likes her. Nobody likes her. She's like a teenage boy. Dudes don't like her. If you put her in front of she's ugly.
That's true. Is
so embarrassing.
I don't know if she had to start with.
In case you missed that, he said, "Does Taylor Swift have any eggs left?"
The misogyny of it all. How insecure.
Bitter, angry women. And that's Taylor Swift.
It's the women that are bitter and angry.
You had feminism. That's Taylor Swift feminism.
What is virtuous about her for young women to glean? Date as many men as possible, complain all the time, ruin men's lives.
She hasn't started a family. She's
you have no kids. It's a terrible role model. If young women start dressing sluttier because of Taylor Swift, which makes them miserable.
Yeah. Charlie Kirk declaring war on Taylor Swift.
Well, is this from a while back, or is this is from a while ago, right? I have heard this. Or did he do it again?
I have no idea. So the Majority Report covered this yesterday. I believe it's new.
Yeah, no, because he did this again. He did this. I didn't know. So he must be doing it again. Yeah, that's his thing with Taylor Swift, or with all women, is women need a proper, virtuous woman to look up to, and Taylor Swift is, not that. It's vile.
There's a part in there where they accidentally admit that she's more effective. Oh, there's someone singing his own. Okay. Accidentally, at some point, they admit that she's more effective. They're like, yeah, and I can't believe it. After they say nobody cares about Taylor Swift, she's just a bitter woman. Nobody cares. She's not that. Then Charlie Kirk's like, yeah, and she registered 4 million people to vote. She broke the
yeah, so that is from a month ago. Yeah. Okay, I did hear that. I hadn't seen this. I did hear that. Oh no, it goes on and on. It's not just a clip. I mean, it's it's like the MLK stuff. It's just misogyny for an hour.
I thought it was funny because that's his job. His actual job is to get people registered to vote and to win elections. And Taylor Swift's like, I'm going to take a brief second away from just dominating the music industry and being a household name, and just make a quick video and be more effective than Charlie Kirk will ever be in his entire life. Like, I'm going to break the system by saying you guys should vote. It's the misogyny. And by the way, well, I don't get why Republican men do this, and it goes to show how they feel about women. But the attack is always on their looks, and Taylor Swift is beautiful. What, like Travis Kelce, unanimously,
it's the insecurity.
Everybody. Travis Kelce was like the most eligible bachelor.
Secure people do not need to attack other people's looks. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's an indictment on you if you are insecure enough to say Travis Kelce is not an athlete or he's terrible. We all know Travis Kelce's an excellent athlete. We all know he's attractive. Like, it just is an indictment on you. To fix your lips to say Taylor Swift is ugly. Like, that's just, I mean.
Well, and I think part of it is that she's more successful than Kelce, and I think it bothers conservative men when they see a man with a woman who's more successful than them. I would love to hear what they say behind closed doors about Candace Owens' husband. I would love to hear that, because every one of them could never be in a relationship with a woman who is more successful. It could not happen. That's like the biggest fear, which is a crazy thing, because doesn't everybody in this world want to work less? So if you're a man and you date a woman and she's crazy successful, and now you get to just like live an easy life, that's somehow an indictment on your manhood. Sign me up. If there's any billionaire women out there who are looking for a TikTok host husband, I'll quit today.
Boy.
I'll quit now. I'll do it now. I'll quit now. I have, it does not bother me. Be successful. Come after me.
I'm about to, if I can find this video, I'm about to hit you with the most amazing video of all time. And you know who it's from? It's about this exact subject, because this is one of Charlie, other than like getting people to vote, being racist and, attacking MLK. That's one of his goals, is the reverse racism argument. And another one is, it's Taylor Swift is just, he's been doing this since before she started dating Travis Kelce, but he's become obsessed with her. But the goal is, it's along the Project 2025 argument that women need to pair off with a man, right? A family in Project 2025 is a man and a woman need to be the parents, right? And she needs to procreate. And that's why he tries to focus on women, single women in their 30s, and say, oh, look at these miserable women with their cats. But the problem is, all of the science, it goes against Charlie. One of the happiest subsets in the United States are single women in their 30s. Or specifically childless, unmarried women in their 30s is one of the happiest subsets in the United States. So Charlie Kirk can say whatever he wants. It doesn't make it true. But you know who made a video about this at 8? Who it was made for TikTok? Christian Walker. What's his name's son?
Herschel's son?
Yes, and he's so good. Wait, let me. I think I have it.
Real quick, can you hold on real quick? I want to address something in the comments from Classy Badassi, and I don't normally do this, but let me set the fucking record straight, Classy Badassi. Before Felice came on this, there was dead air all the time, and I did not have opposition. In fact, one of the main reasons I brought Felice onto this show is because I couldn't get people to show up and be opposition anymore, and I wanted somebody to discuss politics with, so I brought on somebody that was very intelligent and organized that I could talk politics with. The problem that we had that Felice solved is that I couldn't get opposition, and I couldn't provide an entertaining show for 3.5 hours by myself. So I get it. You want to hate on women too. That's fine, but you're wrong. You're dead fucking wrong about that. This was not you. You may have remembered when I first started, when everybody was willing to debate me, but that didn't last very long. It doesn't last because Republicans don't like being dunked on, and everybody I debated was remarkably stupid, and they all quit, and they went back into the hellhole lives that they're in now, where it's just 8 of them bitching about things now. And now we have a consistent audience, by the way. The audience shows up every single day. The Discord has grown, my own personal profile has grown, my YouTube has grown, the Twitter has grown, the Instagram has grown. Every part of this show got better when we introduced Felice, and you're on here because you're whatever, a self-hating woman just lying. So I'll set the record straight. We were in trouble and Felice saved it. It's not the other way around. This was not something that like Felice showed up and people stopped showing up. Felice saved the show. I wouldn't be doing a daily show by myself. So I just want to correct that.
Oh my God, that's so nice. Thanks for by talking shit about me, now you've allowed that to happen.
I hate complimenting her to her face, so I hated that I had to do that.
I know. I was going to say that never would have happened otherwise. Thank you. Okay, so this is Christian Walker discussing this.
Calls you a gold digger for
Wait,
wanting
hold on. He's so good. He was made for TikTok.
to stay home, take care of your kids, and be provided
Wait, hold
for.
on, let me
So
start over.
the next time a man calls you a gold digger for wanting to stay home, take care of your kids, and be provided for, so in this video, let's take the inverse of a gold digger, which is a woman who makes more money than her husband. Divorce goes up 50%, according to a University of Chicago study, when a wife is making more than her husband. Oh, and the percentage of men who cheat goes up when a woman's making more money. The common excuse offered by men who cheat on their hardworking wives is that they feel that their wives no longer respect them. But in a study done by the American Sociological Review, it was revealed that men who make less than their wives cheat 3 times more than the wives who are making more than their husband. So who respects who more? The wife who's working hard to provide for her family, or the man who feels emasculated by his wife's income and looks for his manhood in another woman outside of his marriage? So just to reiterate, women who are making more than their husbands are cheating less than those husbands. Oh, but these last 2 statistics are my favorite. Men are 5 times more likely to cheat when they're reliant on a woman's income, and a woman is 50% less likely to cheat when she's being fully provided for. Finally, according to the statistics, men cheat the least when a woman's only making 75% of his income or less. So it's kind of funny. Men will complain about gold diggers, but what we observe is statistically they behave the worst when a woman is out helping them provide. It's almost like gold digger is just a term lodged at women who know what the hell they want and won't give themselves over to a man who can't give it to them. The next time a man calls you...
Like, that guy was, I mean, with the statistics and all, I would love to see him.
I love when he gets a little catty like that.
But it's so true. Did you hear that? I mean, you provide for a man, you make more money, you are 3 times more likely, 75% more likely to be cheated on. Excuse me. Like, that was my experience too in corporate America, like for sure. Like if you make more than a man, like it's, I mean, I don't personally feel that way. I don't feel that way, but I think I experience that from men.
Yeah, I think, when we talk about like dismantling the patriarchy, and I often get accused of just like, whatever, white knighting or whatever you want to call it. But
yes, that was Herschel's son.
Yeah, the patriarchy hurts men too, and in that way. And we've explained this before, but when men are raised to believe that they are just the providers and the dick giver, then when they're no longer the provider and like they get a little older, the dick giver doesn't matter as much. Like they go seek that from someone else because that's what they are. That's what they are is ingrained in their head that's who they are. I can tell you this is like, I'll speak from real experience. Like when you leave that and you realize when you leave a patriarchal society, you slowly begin to realize how that was ingrained in you and how you are meant to feel small at all times. And your spouse or your girlfriend or your partner, whoever it is, their role is essentially just to keep building up this facade and keep that going as long as you can. But when a man loses his job or is maybe they're fired or maybe they get injured and they can't perform their job or make as much money as they used to, it's devastating to them. It ruins them because their entire self-worth is tied up in that. So outside of what Christian Walker is saying here, as far as people cheating, the truth is to the men out there, the patriarchy also hurts you. Yes. It doesn't just hurt women. It hurts you. It handcuffs you. It stunts your growth too.
The first victims, that's a bell hooks, black feminists, the first victims of the patriarchy are men, right? You have to damage yourself, your ability to process, to regulate your own emotions in order to be part of the patriarchy. Or me as well. Like, my family was very patriarchal, even my mother. Like, that's how our household was run. Like, we couldn't be in touch with our emotions. Anytime you were, then you were punished for it. So yeah, like, men are victims of the patriarchy. And I think that's because also the expectation, right? Men have to be providers. The minute they stop being the primary provider, it hurts their self-esteem. So they go statistically look for somebody to provide for or to take care of who has less than them. And like, we definitely need to get away from those traditional roles. Cause like, when I think about a partner and what that will look like for me possibly going forward, not necessarily having like marriage, but just like a life partner, it's just about support, you know, like as long as we have enough money to live, whoever's making is not important. It's just about being able to emotionally, like, have emotional support from someone who's going to be there with you, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And look, if they're rich, that's great too. That's helpful too. Yeah.
You would be a great kept husband.
Well, look, if we're being 100% honest, so I was running a business that we had locations here in Arizona and 2 in Utah, and I was on the road at least half the month every month. This when I was married, and my wife started making good money, and she was making more than enough money for us to pay our bills, and I was gone all the time, and then she was making more than I was, and then she was doing really well, and she was making almost double what I was making, and we were fine on just my salary. Like, I did fine, but she was doing much better than I was, and we just at one day had the discussion. It's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, why am I still working? Why am I gone 2 weeks out of the month? Why am I on airplanes all the time? I'm living in and out of hotels. Like, I'm not taking care of my mental health, my physical health. It didn't make sense. So eventually, like, I asked to be removed from the business. Like, I left the business that I had helped build because it didn't make any sense anymore. And I will tell you that this was something that, like, when because I have a lot of conservatives that I'm friends with, that we would argue politics, and if it happened to be online, that was always the criticism of me. That's what people would make fun of. Like, conservative men are so afraid of that. Be like, oh yeah, well, your wife makes the money. It's like, yeah, it was cool. It was great. Like,
but that's fine. Real masculinity, though. That's like real security. That's a sign that you're actually secure with yourself, because that stuff truly doesn't matter. Like, a relationship is a partnership. Like, as everybody is providing something. Like, my father, for a long time, my mother made the money, and my dad, I remember, like, when I was in elementary school, he picked me up from school every day, like, took care of me. Like, that's some of the best time I ever had in my life, was being, you know, in elementary school, being picked up from school by my dad, and him, like, raising me in that way. Like, yeah, it's all valuable.
My dad was similar. It's my dad. I have a lot of contention with my dad, but one of the things he did when I was in high school, I played 2 sports, and my sister was a really good basketball player. She's 6 months older than me, so we had, between my games and her, between my soccer and basketball and her basketball, there was always something going on. And my dad shut down one of his businesses and he never missed a game. Never, not once. I mean, I played all around the country. He didn't miss games. When I was in college, I lived down here in Arizona. He would drive, 12 hours to come catch my games. And he made that decision too. While my mom was, she was a professor at a university, and then she taught public school, and it was a hit to their income, but they're frugal, and they're like, yeah, we would rather spend, my dad was like, I'd rather spend this time with you guys than worry about my business. We're going to be fine here.
Yeah, and that's a great decision. I 100%. Yeah, I think we need to really try to get away. More men need to be willing to be taken care of, because it's okay, right?
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. Well done. What's Walker's first? Christian Walker. Well done.
I know, right? That was a great video. 126,000 likes. That's what he's doing all the time. It's just attacking, just tearing up men. Like, Herschel, it's kind of funny. Like, was Herschel Walker once smart?
He still identifies as a conservative too.
I'm not sure. Like, TikTok, I think his experience going through that election with his dad, you know what I mean? When he was a young guy, he identified as a conservative Republican. But for me, I don't know what he is now. I think he is a conservative, but in a different way. He's not saying a lot of the things that were very disturbing that he was in the beginning of that election.
I've never been on his Twitter. He's hilarious. He said George Santos told me
He's
I had a good
hilarious.
ass in my jeans. Now I'm just worried he was lying about that too. That's a great tweet.
Christian Walker is hilarious. I'm like, was Herschel smart and funny before the head injuries? Like, we don't know. We may never know.
I don't remember. I remember for some reason I had this idea in my mind. I don't know who it is. I always thought Herschel Walker was deaf. There was some running back in the NFL that was deaf, but until he ran for Senate, I actually still thought that about him. So now I don't remember who it was, but for most of my life, I thought that Herschel Walker was deaf. That's just a fun fact.
I never thought about it. Let's see. Guys, tap the screen. We're almost to 200K. Let's get to 200K. Share the live. It is Friday. So we've covered the Republicans doing nothing for pregnant college students. Let's see. Oh my gosh.
That's not true. Andy Biggs wants to force them to see an ultrasound. So that
is so Andy Biggs. Why am I in no way surprised?
Government handouts.
That's what Andy Biggs is up to. I need to play this Matt Gaetz clip
for it too.
because it kind of goes along with this. Matt Gaetz is gross, which is going to come as a shock to nobody. Matt Gaetz is gross. What is he saying? He's talking. Matt Gaetz is basically going around saying that women at.
I thought this was on his podcast, by the way. I didn't realize this was a Newsmax segment.
Was it? He works at Newsmax. Yeah,
because he's like he's in his podcast setup, but this was on. I can't remember the same show that I was invited onto and got bumped for Don Jr. Carl Higbee is his name. This was on Carl Higbee's show.
I can't believe you were going to be on Newsmax. That's awesome.
Tommy got on there. Tommy and I were both supposed to go, but good choice. They used Tommy instead.
I want to see that segment. Okay, so this is Matt Gaetz being gross. Prepare people with uteruses to be grossed out.
It's safe to say that based off of your comments, you're suggesting that these women at these abortion rallies are ugly and overweight?
Yes.
What do you say to people who think that those comments are offensive?
Be offended. What I could tell you is, like, for every Karen we lose, there's a Julio and a Jamal ready to sign up for the MAGA movement, and that bodes well for our ability to be more diverse. And
it's safe to say that based off of your...
Okay, so what he's saying is that women who attend abortion rallies are ugly, and he said that, right? And this is a reporter now saying, hey, you said this thing, like, this is your chance to not double down on it. And he's just like, yeah, I said it. It's true. What are you going to do about it? And then that's spliced with another clip, because the other thing he said, because the Republicans Party is hemorrhaging women because of the abortion issue. They're hemorrhaging women. And Matt Gaetz's take on that is, for every woman we lose, what did he say? There's a Julio or a Jamal.
A Julio and Jamal.
Which is super
stereotypical names.
Super disgusting, thing to say. He's saying, well, that's fine because we don't want to give women, autonomy of their bodies if they leave, because now we have minorities who are joining us in droves. It's
a bizarre thing to say, to be made aware of the fact that your movement is excluding women, and women are leaving in droves. And your response to that is not why. What should we do differently? Your response is, fuck it, we'll go find some men to fill. We're just going to pretend that men are going to fill this. Like, that tells you everything you need to know about them. They do not care about women. So if they're passing legislation, if they're advocating ideas that women find abhorrent, they're like, oh, well, good, we'll just leave then. We'll replace you.
That's their answer. Any Republican or independent women here, they don't want you. They're just saying goodbye.
And that's what I feel. I feel like Twitter and the new, they focused on the racism, the stereotyping, which is exactly what he wants, and it's exactly what Republicans want. And I would just encourage people not to fall into that trap and check the actual messaging. There is, we don't give a shit about women. That's the actual messaging, and Matt Gaetz knows that, and that's why he did that clip. And he's going to be able to be like, oh, I wasn't being racist.
First District of Florida, Fort Walton Beach, Destin, Florida. This is your representative. Ladies, get rid of him. This man does not care about women. Women are the swing vote for most independent women, moderates. They don't give a if we are alive or not, if we have rights, if we can get medical care. They're saying that's fine. We'll just replace you with Jamal and Julio. They're saying bye, women. So who's gonna
Who's gonna carry all these forced births? Matt Gaetz,
Exactly.
Jamal and Julio. Is that who are you guys gonna force to create your massive headed spawn? Who's gonna do that for you, Matt Gaetz?
Someone said he's my rep. I lived in the first district. I lived in Destin for a while with my ex. That is a wild. Lots of Trump flags. Lots of DeSantis flags. It's an interesting place.
And Matt Gaetz, your head shape doesn't make any goddamn sense. I make fun of Charlie Kirk. I make fun of Charlie Kirk and Matt Gaetz a lot. But what is it with a?
It's like an upside down house.
Yeah. What is?
I'm sorry. I couldn't think of what shape. Is it a pentagon or something? I don't know. It's like, it is. It's an upside down house. Oh my God. I've thought about the grossest,
man. What's like? There's got to be somebody's got to do a study. Like, if your head is the size and the shape of a stop sign, does this turn you into like a bigot? Because there's a direct correlation between massive, strangely shaped heads and bigotry. Somebody needs to do the study.
It's so true. Or like where I'd also like to hear from like Matt Gaetz's mother. Like, let's bring out Matt Gaetz's mother. I have some questions. You know what I'm saying?
They handed that baby to her and she went, "What the fuck?"
Like, at what point did you know that things had gone terribly wrong with this guy?
Why are there so many flat surfaces? What's going on?
Weird angles. He's very angular. That is what it is. There's like a lot of 45-degree angles going on.
45. His head is a compass. It's just a math problem.
I can't. It is. And the nerve, like, that is the point. He's another one that I'm saying. They're all upset. Oh, men can't wear makeup, except for every day I have a makeup artist that puts my makeup on every morning. Matt Gaetz is another one. Like, we see you, Matt Gaetz. You wear more makeup than anybody else. Like, you can't tell men not to wear makeup when you have makeup on. It's just,
they're all doing it. They're all getting Botox. They're all,
exactly. His face doesn't move. Like, you have fillers. That's like when fillers, Ben Shapiro spent an entire episode trying to convince everyone he did not get lip filler while his lips were swollen.
Fox don't care about the feelings.
It's like, I did not get lip filler. It's like, well, you can't even speak to us. It's the strangest thing. And look, that's fine.
Fine,
like,
get your lip filler. If it makes you feel
I'm
better,
not saying don't. I'm saying
do it. But don't stand up there and be like, these are not real men. Like, there's that, they're all mad at I don't know if you saw this. This might be far right Twitter, but there's like a video of the CEO of United Airlines. They say he's doing drag. I don't even know if he's doing drag. Like, he's in it appears to be a monster costume. Like, it doesn't even, he's a furry. But he like crawls out and he's just, and they're like, this kind of sick, like these people are sickos. It's like, what's different about what you guys are doing? Like, you go to work in a costume every day. You throw on that suit every day. That's a costume. Matt Gaetz has figured out some sort of growing pattern to keep that small planet of a head covered in hair. He clearly got some. I think he got some work done. His face used to be far more circular, and I get that when
it did. If you've seen, Matt Gaetz looked like a different person.
Yeah, 5 years ago. Most of them get new teeth. I think, wasn't that one of the things that like they paid Roger Stone to get new teeth?
Yeah, the MAGA, you guys paid, or one of the from the fund, $13,000 for Roger Stone to get. Yeah, that was in that Mother Jones article about the Stop the Steal money and where it went.
Give him credit, but Steve Bannon is just like, I'm going to look like shit. I'm not going to change a thing.
I will say,
Steve Bannon's the only one
that's
not doing gender affirming care. He's like, I'm going to look my age and my sanity every single day.
Well, it's like, if we're going to do the, like, what's on Trump's fingers thing, like, we can do that with Steve Bannon every day. You know what I'm saying? Roger Stone does that every day to Steve Bannon. But that's what Roger Stone's Twitter is about. It's about zooming in on pictures of Steve Bannon and being like, what's that? That's what Roger Stone does every day on Twitter. Okay, I have something I want to talk about. I didn't even know how I wanted to talk about this, but like, have you noticed that Laura Ingram's getting crazier? Like, what's going on with Laura Ingram? Do you know the Goya? Is it pronounced Goya? Food CEO? Like, this is.
I think it's Goya. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like a crazed Trump supporter who just, says things that nobody should ever say ever for any reason.
Yeah, he gets paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars to give speeches and just scream obscenities. He's a bizarre guy.
Well, anyways, it's not so much just about him, but like the thing is Laura Ingraham just had so many disturbing segments. Let me just play one of these and then you could just tell me. She just had different people talking, but I think I still might make this video of just being like,
Baba Nunu is his name.
Yes, I never knew how to pronounce that either. But this is just listen to this one first because I have like a couple.
Pros for Elise Stefanik are she is loyal to the cause.
Okay, so this is about Laura Ingraham was doing debates about VP. They're talking about Elise Stefanik and pros and cons. So listen to this.
But the pros for Elise Stefanik are she is loyal to the cause, not just to President Trump, but to America first. No more never Trumpers or Obama holdovers or deep staters undermining a second Trump administration from within. She's also a really tough fighter, as evidenced in that questioning of the Ivy League presidents, and got a couple of scalps there. 2 out of the 3 Ivy League presidents have resigned.
Which that's, by the way, is an extremely racist thing to say. Do we understand that's a reference to a time when we were genociding the Native American?
Yeah, there's only one reference for that.
Yeah.
There's only one reference for that.
She just threw that out of book. And Laura Ingraham's like, yep, that makes sense. Nothing wrong here. That's a totally normal thing to say.
Perhaps most importantly, Laura, for Elise Stefanik, is that as a new mom, she can speak to and perhaps help deliver one of President Trump's most problematic groups, which is suburban women. She is also a really effective, proven leader on Capitol Hill, and that would be most helpful in getting legislation passed and over the finish line. I think with cons with Elise Stefanik, her age, she's only 39, so she's young and might not inspire a lot of confidence in her ability to do the top job if necessary. And also, she won't be able to deliver her home state of New York. I know President Trump wants to put it in play, and nothing is impossible with Trump and politics, but that is a very...
I've said this for over a year. That's why I had to play this one first. That Elise Stefanik, I'm on True Social all the time. And for 2 years now, he's been making these little comments like, oh, I'm so proud of Elise. Like, oh, look what Elise did. And I was like, oh, God. He just wants someone malleable that he can groom. But to say she can bring in suburban women because she's a new mother, we just went over. She was one of the ones talking about helping pregnant college students. Be forced to give birth, and then they'll cut off all the social services that they're providing them. She's one of these people doing this.
She also ruthlessly and disgustingly set a trap for these 3 female college or university presidents. She forced them in a public hearing to answer a question correctly in the way that they should, that she knew would get them backlash, and she hoped they would lose their job. So I would just ask women who think she's an advocate for them, why? Why would you think she's an advocate? She cost, I think 2 of the 3 have been fired, I believe, and I think the third one is like there's calls. But she set them up to be fired on purpose, and they gave the right answer, and she knew what answer they were going to get. Everybody knew the answer that was going to be given there. That's why all 3 of them gave the exact same answer, but she was able to position it like they were cowards instead of just doing what they were supposed to do and answer in a lawful manner. This is what happens. In order to get into Trump's good graces, you have to do something disgusting. It's almost like an initiation, like into a gang, right? Like sometimes you beat up somebody or like you steal something. The initiation into the MAGA gang is to do something disgusting and something that harms people in the name of MAGA to show that you're really serious. If you got to show me somebody in MAGA who got close to Trump, who got that way without doing something disgusting. I'll wait. Every single one of them. That's how you get into his good graces, by being cruel.
It's absolutely vile, like that. And think about it. That is her claim to fame. And then this is the same person who, I can't even repeat the word they said, but she got, she's taking credit for the witch hunt that got 2 of them fired. And then this is the same person where it comes out plagiarized a letter in support of Israel. You know what I'm saying? From a Jewish Democratic member of the House. And plagiarized her letter, put her own name on it, and sent it out like she had wrote it. And now is trying to stand on this issue like this is so important to her. I can't. And this is his little darling that's going to be the vice president of America. And then, I don't even know if you want to hear it because it's so absurd, but Laura Ingram's response to that is to make an argument for, guess who?
Kristi Noem.
No.
Carrie Lake.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, God.
I think Carrie Lake, it can't be. I mean, is Carrie Lake still, you know who endorsed Carrie Lake yesterday? Tommy Tuberville. Gross.
Well, that's going to fly. Everybody, that's going to fly a long way in Arizona. We love,
Tommy Tuberville endorsed her. Like, it's just a disaster, these people. But yeah, she made the case. But then I thought about it. Tulsi used to work with Laura Ingraham. So I was like, why is she so on board with Tulsi Gabbard? But maybe I actually think Tulsi Gabbard might be better than Elise Stefanik.
I actually agree with that. The thing is, I really don't think this Elise Stefanik stuff is real. I just don't think Donald Trump would choose a female VP that wasn't like considered traditionally attractive. We'll put it that way. I still think it's going to be somebody like Kristi Noem or Carrie Lake.
I think Kristi Noem is the most likely outside of Elise Stefanik, because I agree with what you're saying. It's definitely a departure, right? Is Trump ever around a woman that doesn't have those the classic? Well, it's debatable, but yeah, like you're saying, the good-looking woman.
Big Block says he's
Big Block.
he's calling Kamala a cackling hyena. But Big Block, just remember that when you say things like I'd rather take Elise Stefanik over Kamala Harris, just remember that most of the people that are here have also heard you speak. And you've never done a good job showing that you're somebody who should be trusted to make an intelligent, well thought out decision. So just remember that when you're in there and you're saying things like that, remember you're not the like a thought leader in any scenario. You're not a thought leader. You're just somebody who is maybe racist, but certainly completely blinded by MAGA to the point that when facts stare you right in the face, you go quiet rather than acknowledge them. So I just want to put that out there. But enjoy Elise Stefanik's brief stint as a potential VP. I'm going to say now, if Donald Trump gets the nomination, I do not think it'll be Elise Stefanik. Other than because it can't be Carrie, the thing about Elise that's good is she could pull, like they're saying, they want independent suburban women. She's also from New York, a state Trump's really interested in having an impact with. But now they're redrawing the district. So, the advantage that Republicans saw in the midterms they're going to fairly redraw the maps. So yeah. And we talked about it yesterday and today, but just remember that Donald Trump and the team around him, they are horrific at running campaigns. Donald Trump is now to the stage of his political career where he only surrounds himself with people who think and do exactly what he says. So usually you choose a VP that's going to bring you voters that you're struggling to reach. He's not doing that. When they say that Elise Stefanik is going to maybe be able to deliver a message to women, no.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
She's delivering the same message he's delivering, and he will not allow her to deviate from that. And she now has a history of publicly going after women. She's not going to, women aren't going to be... I think maybe this is the problem with Republicans, is I actually think that they think women are just waiting to be told what to do. And
exactly.
That just putting a woman up there will be enough for them. No, it won't. The women that are leaving Donald Trump, they're upset about what he stands for. They're upset about the attack on their reproductive rights. They're not upset that like Mike Pence wasn't a woman. That's not why they left. They left because of the shit you say and do, and Elise Stefanik is just parroting all that. So why do you think you're going to get women back?
Amen to that. And I found how do you pronounce his name? The Goya Foods CEO?
I thought it was like a Nanu. I think it's a Nanu.
It's like an alien or something. But I just want, this is just my point. Laura Ingram's show is out of control. It gets weirder and weirder. I think she's moving towards like Tucker Carlson-esque. Like, listen to the CEO of Goya Foods, who's a huge Trump supporter, was on her show, and just listen to the crazy things that concern him nowadays.
It's basically a war. We've ignited a war, a spiritual war, good versus evil. And, you have somebody like Trump, in my opinion, has been predestined not only to bring us back to prosperity, but to bring us closer to God. He's someone who is a builder. We need to love, build, and unite. What we're doing is we're dividing, hating, and destroying. We're dividing. Even the Pope, this thing he's also declared on Davos that, about this globalization.
So now he's moving on to the Pope. Now he's doing the World Economic Forum in Davos. Yeah. That's what he just said.
All the hits.
Now he's talking about the Pope.
Vilified Trump. He's praised Biden, who went to the White House. He's called him a good Catholic. And, what he's doing is dividing. And, he's also defrocked his detractors like Strickland, like Burke, like Father Frank Pavone, who's a priest for life.
Father Frank Pavone, these are people that the Pope excommunicated. Father Frank Pavone is a man who hangs out on Getter, the site that is owned by the Chinese dissident who defrauded people with Himalayan coin out of billions of dollars. Miles Guo, who's best friends with Steve Bannon, he hangs out on there and yells at women who believe they should have reproductive rights. Do you think about all the priests that the Catholic Church protects and does not excommunicate? These are people who they actually kicked out. I just want to make that point.
Robert, I love how we've gone from the Davos divas and, smashing their relationship with the far left to hitting the Pope. I mean, this is a segment you're not going to get on TV anywhere else.
Yeah, that's right, Laura. You're not going to get that anywhere else.
Because it's fucking stupid.
Because this is not news. Because you just are platforming people to yell conspiracy theories.
There's the CEO of Chase Bank. This is a weird
Jamie
thing.
Dimon.
Jamie Dimon, yeah. By the way, it's Dimon, which I like. It's not Diamond. It's Dimon. But there's this like attempted narrative right now that Joe Biden is like the divider. Like, so now the guy that can't complete sentences and doesn't say anything and doesn't hold any rallies and can't draw a crowd and nobody cares about, like, he's the divider. And they're hanging off this one thing he said about MAGA Republicans, which, like, he could have delivered that a little bit differently. But the funny thing is when these people are tired of being divided, but are they going to vote? Like, the people that are actually tired of being divided, not the Republicans who just say dumb shit that they repeat. Like, if you're tired of being divided, are you going to vote for Donald Trump? No. Like, I don't even understand these type of arguments where they act like Biden is this big divisive figure. He's divisive for one reason, because Donald Trump has turned him into the Antichrist, and MAGA has turned him into the Antichrist, because that's what you do when somebody beats you or somebody opposes you. You demonize them. Like, I can't figure out that type of messaging. And Jamie Dimon is a fucking coward. By the way, Jamie Dimon, who somehow kept
what happened
his job.
to him?
How did he keep his job through 2008? He took over in 2005. How did he get through the financial crisis? I don't even get it. Like, he broke every law. He put Chase Bank into a scenario where they had to accept government bailout. This is and then for the Republicans now to like wholeheartedly say like, oh, we love Wall Street, we love big banks. Like,
since when?
There's no clear messaging here, but the desperation out of the Republican Party now to trot out these narratives that nobody's buying. Nobody thinks Joe Biden is divisive. Nobody. You only MAGA, and that's because you've been told to say that. But there's no reasonable person outside of MAGA that thinks Joe Biden is this massive divisive figure. And now the Pope is divisive because he called an 80-year-old who's been a Catholic for 80 years and goes to church every Sunday a good Catholic. Like, that's divisive. But said Donald Trump isn't a Christian because, I don't know, he's never been. So now when you point out, now when the Pope correctly points out that Donald Trump does not act like a Christian and has never been a Christian, and points out correctly that Joe Biden is a good Catholic, which, by the way, that doesn't mean a goddamn thing to me. And most of us on the left, we don't care. I'd rather him not go to church. I don't want that as part of it. But like, that's the divisiveness. That's the messaging that you think is going to work. You're going to go out on a national stage with undecided voters and be like, well, listen to this. The Pope said that Joe Biden's a better Christian. And people are like, yeah, we fucking know that. Of course he is. Because he is a Christian. Like, he is one. Yeah, we all know this. That's not divisive.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And the Pope, why? Because the Pope blesses same-sex couples. Like, I think it's all about change. You know, conservatives see any change. Like, the best thing about this Pope is he is a good leader. He sees, like, the Catholic Church, unless they come into the 21st century, will not survive. And that man sees that. It's the same thing we were talking about Dan McClellan, the Bible scholar on here, who was talking about. We've accepted that slavery is unjust, right? And in the Bible, slavery, there's chapters, there's books of the Bible dedicated to explaining how to enslave races of people and how that's fine. And we've all accepted, there are many people who are still Christians who still believe in the Bible, but we know, okay, we should not be owning humans. It's the same thing with same-sex marriage. Time marches on, and something that was accepted, like owning humans and explaining how to enslave people, we as rational beings can move past that. You don't have to give up your faith, but you need to recognize that time has marched on and we're no longer going to demonize people.
Yeah. Agreed. Let's go. Do you have a story that you could cover for 45 seconds? Because it's pee time.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see. What should we talk about? What do you guys want to talk? Who's Cart Williams? You mean Cat Williams? Do you guys hear my cat screaming? Oh my gosh, do you guys want to meet Mr. Mittens really quick? Hold on, I'm going to get my cat. This is Mr. Mittens. He only weighs like 5 pounds, but he screams really loud. I found him in an alley in Idaho when I was skateboarding in college, and he has been my longest relationship with a male since. He is a doll. Like, he's like more like a dog. He fetches. Yeah, he's really, really small. Like, when he's soaking wet. But black cats are the best. I don't know why people... I once read that people... Yeah, black cats are absolutely the best. Like, I was told at the shelter that people don't like them because they don't photograph well on the internet. But yeah, I had a black cat when I was a child until I was like 8, left for college. And then I found this one in college.
Hi, Cat.
Yeah.
What's Cat's name?
Mr. Mittens.
Hi, Mr. Mittens.
Yeah,
nice
this is the cat that almost died the other...
Oh, he's looking alive as shit today.
Yeah, he's good today. He's still kicking. I don't have a cat.
I'm not a good liberal.
Yeah, men with cats are very attractive. You should get one.
I honestly have thought about it, but I just don't feel like my life's in a place right now where I should be responsible
taking
for
care of an animal.
Yeah, I have a daughter, and like it's as much as I can do. And I have 2 dogs. They stay obviously with my ex, but I do have 2 dogs.
No Catman. Okay, I'm gonna put him back. I'm gonna put him away.
What's Cat Williams saying? I'm gonna be replaced by the cat. Yeah, that's probably true. All right, let's jump into this. By the way, if you're MAGA here, please jump up. I think both Felice and I are fairly ready for the week to be over. We would love to have a MAGA conversation with some of you before the day goes. If you've had something that's been on your mind for this week, I want to say, I think that I'm offering a little bit of sympathy to you MAGA folks. I think that you're tired. I think that you don't have really good excuses for why you're voting for MAGA anymore. But if you do think that you have a good excuse to vote for MAGA, come tell me about it. Or if you think that there is something in this world that is weaker than a MAGA man, I'm open to suggestions. But I was thinking about it this morning when I made this background, and I settled on the idea that nothing is weaker than a MAGA man. And I've used gas station toilet paper, so I know a thing or two about things that are weak.
Gas station toilet.
Yeah, I think single-ply gas station toilet paper just slightly stronger than a MAGA man.
I know, he's screaming to come back to you guys. He's like, please let me back in. I want to love you. But here's an interesting fact that I don't know if you caught in the outline, but I think everyone will love. So according to FEC records, Trump-affiliated PACs, guess how much Alina Habba gets paid for being Trump's kept woman? Because she's not a lawyer. If there's anything we have learned this week we learned that Alina Habba, how in the world did this woman pass the bar? They've paid her $2,528,408.06. But from February 2022 to June 2023.
Talk about getting your money's worth. Did you see the defense she's put up too?
You guys are paying for a horrible lawyer for him. Well, she's
been laughed out of court multiple times. She basically gave Trump a default judgment before his case even
no jury.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't have a dog? It really sounds like you have a dog.
There's a dog staring in my window. I think it's a MAGA dog. It's just staring at me and was barking. I don't know if it had ever seen me before.
The Sandlot dog.
I don't know. My neighbors brought home a full-grown dog the other day. They've never had a dog before. Now they have a full-grown one.
Yeah, 2.5 million. So there you go. You guys have paid that woman specifically 2.5 million. And that's just from February 22 to June 23. That's who knows how much more, but and yet someone getting paid
2.5 million, and you're still going to blame the deep state and Joe Biden for Donald Trump losing all these cases. She sucks at her job. Look, she probably wasn't going to win, and maybe if I'm going to be let's see, more than fair to the Trump team, maybe they just knew they weren't going to win, and so they wanted to trot out somebody who was willing to throw their law career in the toilet to just run a campaign, because that's what she's done. And that 2.5 million, that's legal fees. I would like to see the fees she's been paid for speaking fees, for appearance fees.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's not even all. Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. Yeah, that's just the legal fees. And think about, it's interesting to see that. I don't know if I would say Donald Trump has feelings for her. He's definitely fond of her companionship in one way or another, because she's not doing a good job at the legal stuff. So he's willing to put up with her failing time and time again just to be around her.
That's a good point. He usually blames his attorneys.
Yes.
He usually does. Usually when they lose, then they get fired. Yeah, that's
exactly.
A good point.
How many attorneys? The male attorneys, you make a mistake, he shames you. Joe Tacopina just was actually finally thrown out. I don't know if we ever, he finally filed papers, he's no longer Trump's lawyer. Trump goes through lawyers, male lawyers. She can make as many mistakes as she wants and stick around. Just making the observation.
Tacopina is also the worst kind of pudding, I think.
Tapioca? I don't know. Yeah, I don't really understand what tapioca pudding is, but it tastes good.
You really like tapioca pudding?
Well,
I think it's horrific.
The balls. I just don't understand what that is. What is it? But I'm not clear on what's going on there.
I think it's balls. I think it's just balls.
It's strange.
Do we want to talk about Don Jr. boring Vivek to death?
He did. Well, that's Vivek, I can't believe Vivek got booked on Don Jr.'s podcast, because what you do on that podcast, unless you're Ronnie Jackson and you're participating in the festivities, is you watch Don Jr. just go like this.
But then when he wakes up, he gets real animated.
Oh, yeah. For a while. Or he's just talking mile a minute and you can't speak at all. So it's just interesting because Vivek's face while he was talking was just unreal. Do you have that clip?
Yeah, I've got it queued. Yeah.
And I got sort of thrust into politics.
Started writing the books that I think maybe, we come from a similar background. And I wasn't biotech, but I was a real estate guy. So I came from business and I got sort of thrust into politics. Started writing the books that, you're right, it is a great way of sort of reflecting on what's going on and the stories from the trail and meeting, real Americans who are affected by these disastrous policies, not just from the, I think maybe, we come from a similar background.
That was, first of all,
when I was a real estate.
Vivek doesn't change his expression. I guess maybe some of this is lost in translation, but Don, this is how remarkably dumb Don Jr. is. He's like, we're very similar. We come from similar spaces, biotech and real estate. There is nothing even remotely similar about those two industries. Like, I don't know what Don, and then he's like, and then we both wrote a book,
does
and now
this.
we're in politics.
Yeah.
You're just listing things that you did and listing things that he did, and then you're pretending that they're the same. Don Jr.'s podcast is me, but Vivek, I've never seen him look so sad or so dejected to be someplace. Do you think there's a part of him that, like, do you think being a complete and total sellout weighs on him?
Yeah, I think this is just my personal opinion, but I think doing that election, what he did, hanging out in Iowa for so long, experiencing a lot of racism and things, like, I think it probably took it out of him. I don't know how you can not be exhausted from that experience. Just the things I heard people say to him, yeah, I think he's a little bit exhausted for sure. He's probably, if you're playing a character and you're not anyone real, yeah, you probably got to be wondering a lot of the time, like, what am I doing and how did I get here? That's how he looked on Don Jr.'s podcast. Like, it's like he would just look around like, is this really like where we're at now? Like, how did I get to this point?
I'm starting to think maybe I've been thinking this was all a stunt to get into media. But I'm starting to think that I oversold Vivek. I think maybe he does want that cabinet position or the VP slot. I'm thinking
he does. That's why he's on that podcast.
Yeah, I thought it was a grift in a different way.
No,
he's one of those true believers, I think. Unfortunately.
No, he's not. I don't think. I think he's the grifter, but not. I think that, like, this is his way forward. Like, he's a Peter Thiel.
You don't think he's a true believer?
No. Okay. He's too smart. But I mean, just
that's what I'm saying. I think I'm giving him too much credit.
If you're smart enough to do a pump and dump scheme, you're smart enough to see, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think a true believer that MAGA can be used to make money. Like, it's another career path. Like, and it opens up, he wants to enter the political world. I think it doesn't matter. I don't think he has morals, like, or ethics, like an average person. I think he just wants power. Doesn't it seem he's interested in proximity to power?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. It's a true believer in that maybe the MAGA movement will provide him what he wants. Yeah, I guess he does. It's true. He doesn't really stand for something.
Because you can have a lot of money, but then you seek out the power. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you can have a ton of money and that could come with some power, but he's looking for political power, like proximity to Washington.
Yeah, and maybe maybe he just doesn't understand the game. Because the way that he's going about this, like, there is nothing. You get nothing from attaching yourself to Don Jr.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, that's not points. The move for sure. Yeah, not even from Trump.
Yeah, Trump doesn't give a shit. Yeah, if he told Trump, he's like, I was on your son's,
he'd be like, who?
Podcast. He'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Podcast. Like, I don't know
Trump
anyone
ever
been on that podcast. I don't think so.
No, oh God, no. Yeah. No, absolutely. It's just Ronnie Jackson. Ronnie Jackson comes on like twice a week.
Gorilla sat in the box for a long time while Jen pretended he wasn't here.
I just saw some crazy things you were saying in the chat. Oh, guys, tap the screen.
3 minutes.
Let's get to 240K.
3 minutes isn't a long time. I'm here to talk about weakness. I got a list for you guys. One of them would be Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Is there anything weaker? Well, there is. There's two other things weaker that I'm going to list. But before he ends and starts talking to the journalist to answer questions from specific people that is already pre-planned out, he'll say, I'm just following orders. I'm just doing as I'm told before he does his Roomba act.
Is following orders a sign of weakness?
saying that is. That's not a good leader. I'd
What
rather
if
have
soldiers?
a guy that
What if
pushes
soldiers?
prime
Well, no, we're talking about
ministers out
weakness,
of the
not
way.
leader. Yeah, we're talking about weakness, not leadership. What do soldiers say?
What is what?
What do soldiers say? Just following orders, right?
That's weak, dude. You're the president of the United States.
So our military is also weak then.
Who's he taking orders from? Obviously, someone.
Here's the thing. Guerrilla radio
He outs himself.
Yeah, one thing you may not understand about being in a leadership position is that if you make sure that people understand that you're not running it by yourself and that there's people that are there that are helping you make the decision, it does two things. Number one, it shows that you don't take yourself so seriously that you're not willing to listen to others. But two, it builds up the team around you, right? So when Joe Biden goes to a campaign event and he just goes where he's told, and he's like, I'm just following orders. He's basically giving credit to the people who organized the event. And he's like, I'm just here to do my part. My part's just to speak. I'm not organizing this event. A weak person is somebody like Donald Trump, who will always pretend like everything that happened was because of them. That's actual weakness.
Okay, well, that's your opinion.
Do you like the athlete? Do you like the athlete that stands up, the quarterback that wins the Super Bowl and is like, hey, that was all me, baby. We're fucked without me. Like, my teammates suck, my receivers suck, but luckily I put the ball where it needs to be. No, the best leaders, the Tom Brady's, the Joe Montanas, they said, I have an incredible team around me. Like, they just put me in positions to get my job done, and I couldn't have done it without them. If an athlete stood up and acted, in fact, in any scenario outside of the MAGA bubble that you live in, if somebody stood up and took credit for things and acted like Donald Trump, you would relentlessly attack. They would be mocked in every other scenario.
How am I in a MAGA bubble when I only join left?
Gorilla, you know what he's saying.
Bubble.
But Gorilla, Gorilla.
No, I
to
mean,
me,
it's a good point about that. But this is the president of the United States.
No, but let me say
different
something.
Than quarterbacking
Let me say
a
something.
game.
You have women who make more than men, and then the likelihood that those men will cheat. Like, the patriarchy has taught you what a certain definition of strength is, or a certain definition of weakness. But I would say, to me, weakness is somebody who can take no accountability, who has never been wrong, who's open to no criticism. That is weakness.
Okay.
So I'm just presenting to you that there's an idea in your mind of what's weak, and that's true. Like, that's what you're taught. Like, men in America are taught is never be weak, right? But I'm saying I have a completely different definition of what weakness is. If you can't be criticized, if you can't take criticism, if you can't say, here's where I'm weak, let me find someone who's strong in this area to supplement that. That's why Joe Biden is strong. He knows what he's good at. He knows what other people are good at. He puts people in the right position. He empowers them, and he lets them go to work. Trump is so busy micromanaging everyone, trying to take credit for everything, be in control of everyone, that nobody is getting anything done.
Okay, so it's like when he's on stage and about to leave and about to do his Roomba act is like the weakest moment for him. And then he says, just following orders. It's a very weak moment. And I think if you took a poll and you said, does this look like a strong man? Right before he puts his arms at a 90-degree angle and tries to find the exit.
Yeah, we're not saying he's physically strong. We're not saying he's physically strong. He's in his 80s.
No, he's just feeble and his mind
he's not.
there.
Yeah, he's in his.
But
80s.
That's another definition of the patriarchy's definition of weakness, is that you have to be physically strong. Right? Like, that's not.
There's another weakness. Tapioca pudding is delicious.
Someone told me it came from, someone in the
old,
comments said it came from
dare you.
cassava plant. I didn't know that. Cassava is good. It's good for
Yeah, I
you.
thought it was the little beads come from a flower, I think, like the stem where they scrape it out.
Rodent testicles.
I think, but it tastes like vanilla pudding. It's delicious.
I said that. Did I not say that? I said the texture I don't understand, but now I understand it comes from a plant. Well, let's listen. Joe Biden was giving.
What did you think it came from?
I really he just said rodent testicles, and that sounded. Yeah, I was very confused for a long time.
What did you want to play?
Investment in education.
I was just going to say.
Public investment in education, infrastructure and education have hollowed out communities, closing factories, leaving too many behind. And now, my predecessors like to say, America is a failing nation. In my face, bless me, Father, for his sin. I mean, come on. A failing nation. And by the way, did you hear he wants to see the stock market crash? Because he does not want it now. We're doing well. He acknowledging by that we're doing pretty damn well economically and getting better. He wants to see the stock market crash. You know why? He doesn't want to be the next Herbert Hoover. As I told him, he's already Hoover. He's the only...
I mean, to me, Joe Biden seems to understand perfectly what's going on.
Yeah, I don't think it shows a great deal of strength to openly root for your country to suffer so that you can win an election. I don't think that shows leadership. I don't think it shows strength. And I think that, honest to God, I think you have to be really, really willing to forego morals and forego humanity to support Donald Trump. You have to be okay with cruelty. You have to be okay with things happening to this country that hurt the country just so that he can win. And that's the sad. When I say there's nothing weaker than a MAGA man, like nothing to me is weaker than watching grown men defend this temper tantruming little baby in his late 70s, a billionaire
with
who was
orange
handed a
makeup all
silver
over his
spoon.
face.
Yeah, covered in makeup, standing up there saying, everybody's picking on me. And then, like, grown men, like, I got to put on a shirt for this guy. I got to put up a flag for this guy. Like, I got to go out and defend this guy. I'm going to go watch this guy at a rally for 3 hours fucking complain. Who complains more than this guy? And the people that support it are the weakest of the weak weak, and they see Donald Trump and they see that he masks his insecurities, and they love that about him. They're like, man, I wish I could do that. I'm going to act more like him and mask all my insecurities with complaining.
There's so many Trump supporters like me. I've never purchased one thing. Not a Trump hat. I've never donated to.
I didn't say that.
Gorilla, strength is not punching down. It's not calling women derogatory names. Do you understand that? Like, nothing about Donald Trump exudes strength.
He's said some things that I disagree with
at every turn. But I'm just telling you, you're trying to present that Biden is weak. What?
Oh, he is weak. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but weak. He's weak physically.
We're not at a bodybuilding competition.
No, I do not see that.
What
guy
are you talking about?
Because
and you're following a criminal who's insecure, paints his face orange every day, and talks and punches down on people.
This is the point.
Congratulations.
I don't agree with
He's a real man.
Hold on.
He's a real man. That's a real man.
The point is, Gorilla, the point that we're trying to make is that you have been conditioned to view leadership as something that it is not. You are following somebody who acts tough, who speaks tough, and is the most thin-skinned pussy ever to run for public office.
I can
office.
name you some right now. I can name you weaker people right now
that have run for public office.
No, they're your moderators. They're the weakest. I said Andrew Tate, and the whole chat went nuts. I was muted. That's the only reason I requested to come up.
Do you think Andrew Tate's a strong man? Is that where we're going with this now? Is Andrew Tate your next idol?
I said Andrew Tate for VP, and everybody goes ape shit.
I would say, and I would offer this, that while you may call that censorship and weak, and you have every right to say so, I would say it is far weaker to publicly be humiliated and have every single person involved in the situation say that you were wrong and that you lost a bet and you refused to pay that bet, and that you publicly went on and called me a liar and claimed that I said things that I didn't say, and I posted the video, and everybody, even the people on your side, say that you lost that bet, and still to this day you haven't paid that bet. But I have been willing to overlook that and not harp on it forever, because I am not a weak man. But you can't even admit when you're wrong, Guerrilla Radio.
Let's be honest then.
That's why you like Trump. You're two people that won't pay their debts or admit when they're wrong.
You're this pillar of honesty, then let's be honest about that bet.
Okay.
And let me give you an example. I saw an article yesterday that I read where they excluded Mary Jane, we'll call it that, because they know it comes over in tons between the ports of entry. But let's be honest about your bet, okay? There really was no bet. Because as soon as you said...
Actually, the bet was that you had to provide the video.
Right,
and that the video you provided would not have been a congressman. And I said, I know exactly what video you're talking about. And you're like, no, it wasn't a congressman, but it was.
No, that wasn't the video. That wasn't the video.
You've never provided the video.
I know, I can't find it. But here's why there was no bet.
So shouldn't you pay the bet then?
I just want you to be honest.
Wait, so shouldn't you... Wait, if that was the bet, why haven't you paid then?
No, let me finish.
Okay.
Here's what happened. As soon as you said you have 24 hours, and I said, no fucking way, dude. I scoffed at that. So there really is no bet. Can you be honest about that? That you gave me a 24-hour
and you said
limit, and I said no.
Yeah, and the video's posted. Everybody can see the video is posted.
Yeah,
I said, okay, well, just get me the video. And then we went on multiple lives after that, and we kept asking for the video. This went on for weeks. I never said
none of us will ever have back. We've lost time.
But like that's what you're doing. You're like, well, I guess the time period is from now until forever.
So be honest. Be honest, dude. If you say you have 24 hours and I said no, I'm not going to do that. Is there a bet?
That's not what happened.
Have you been thinking for what's the way to again relitigate this?
But here you go again. Here you go again. You made a claim. You haven't defended that claim. And instead of admitting that you made a claim that you can't defend and you lost a bet, and I offered to cut the bet in half and send the money to somebody that wasn't me, I've made concessions all along the way. And you're not willing to, because you cannot admit that you're wrong. You're incapable of it.
Was there a bet?
Yes.
Yes.
So you put a 24-hour limit on it, and I said no.
I said, okay, how much time do you need? We asked you how much time you needed.
No, and then you posted the video where you cut that part out.
No, it's posted on my TikTok right now. I went
later, a week later, after I direct messaged you, like, dude, you said 24 hours.
Yeah, and then we went on multiple lives, and I said, "Where's the video?" And you're like, "I'll find it. And then you changed, the argument, and you were wrong about that too. But again, this is what I'm saying. Like,
so
don't call my moderators weak for making fun of you for supporting Andrew Tate when like you're not like
Andrew Tate hurts women. Do you understand that he traffic? This is the thing. The Republican Party sits there and says, "Oh, we need to protect women and children." The Democrats, 3 PDOs and trafficking and all of this stuff. But really, what you're doing right now is propping up an actual trafficker.
That's a good point.
No,
your attempt at trolling is
That's vile.
But you're trolling them with a person who traffics women. That's the thing. Like, you don't even recognize that you're trolling with something that like they're like, oh, I don't like Andrew Tate because he's a trafficker, and you're trolling them because they don't like him because he's a trafficker. My question is, why would you troll with someone? Like, do you not have a problem that he's a trafficker? Does that not bother you?
No, he's fine with it. He's absolutely fine with it.
I don't even know enough about him to know that trafficking is involved.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah.
No, the videos I've seen of him were about misogyny and shit. About like,
did you like those videos?
Free article.
Oh, you're fine with just the misogyny because.
No, I know that triggers the mods. Obviously, it triggers them. But let's talk
what kind of grown? But you're a grown man. You just want to trigger people.
Why don't you want to protect women?
From
violence.
Need opposition in the chat, and these guys fucking mute me. Yesterday, they muted me for really no reason. I was just like, hey, I get muted. Dude. So get this.
Because you're admitting that you're just a troll.
So get this shit. I get muted.
Wait, just admit that you're a troll first.
Oh, yeah.
And do you think that's what strong men do? They troll people on the internet?
No, I'm boredom, just fucking around.
I mean, the question I asked though, Gorilla, the question I asked specifically was, do you think that's like do you think that's a characteristic of strong men trolling people on the internet?
Am I the president of the country?
No, I said strong men. I didn't say the president. This is
and the president does troll people. That's one of his favorite activities.
So
just
yesterday,
like you, yes.
So yesterday, no reason.
Not answer the question again.
No reason. I'll answer no. So there's no reason yesterday to mute me, and I was getting 60-second mutes, right? That's so funny. I'm clicking on the comments, trying to get fucking type of comment. You say something about there was a misinformation report, right? Immediate, everybody's like,
oh yeah. I did not do that. Hands above the blanket. I did not.
That was mean-spirited. That's mean-spirited. Go ahead and unmute.
Is this one of those 60-second mutes we're experiencing? The point
in all fairness, Gorilla, in all fairness, Jen has muted me on my own platform too. So I don't know if you're in good company, but
she's a Nazi fucking fascist. Like, jeez, man. Triggered.
Brother. Calm down.
She has blue hair, guaranteed, and screams at the sky.
Brother,
again, those are tropes about leftist or liberal women. Do you hear what he's doing, though?
Yeah.
Every single... those.
Like, you can't complain about being trolled when you're literally... Like, you're just admitting... You're like, oh, I'm an admitted troll. And then people troll you, and you get mad about it. And, like, that... I mean, that is pretty MAGA of you.
It's just Gorilla. It's a conundrum because Gorilla is intelligent, but then continues with this rhetoric and supporting
Gorilla
Orange Jesus. It's confusing.
You cry. You say nothing true. I call you out on it. You get mad and you talk shit in the comments, and then I don't understand why people like to talk shit to mods when we can boot you, mute you. It's just stupid.
And Jen will establish dominance when she feels she needs to.
I will hike my leg on you all day long, and I don't even feel bad. So.
All right. Sorry, Gorilla. Sorry.
I'm
don't
not
pick
sorry.
fights
Jake
with
can
Jen.
pretend like
I don't
he's
know what
sorry.
to tell
I'm
you.
not sorry.
You could pay the bet.
Yeah. Pay the bet, and our mods will be nicer to you. Jen, would you be nicer to Gorilla if you paid the bet?
The Paynina stuff would stop at least.
I mean,
that's possibly a large part of the trolling, I think, is the Paynina stuff.
I mean, he has no integrity whatsoever. So, shallow, insecure men don't get respect from me. So.
Oh, sorry. All right. Well, we've got a young king waiting in the wings.
There you go. All right. Later.
Thanks, Jed. W, Jed.
A young king?
That's what it says. It says young king. YKSD. Young king sucks. I don't know what the last one would be.
How you guys doing?
What's up, young king?
I've been a fan for a while. I like your videos.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to ignore the San Francisco 49er gear being a
Okay. Sorry about that.
But I'm just curious because I hear a lot of Democrats complaining about Joe Biden, you know? And the three main things I hear is that his handling of the Gaza stuff, not getting universal health care, or at least a public option implemented, and the border. Those are like the three main things I hear people complain about, especially the Democrats.
That's fair.
So I'm just like wondering, like, if the Democrats don't like what Joe Biden's doing, then why doesn't any other Democrat decide to challenge him in a primary? Is that just like the status quo, or?
Yeah. Look, it's hard to, I mean, you'd never run against a candidate who is the incumbent. And it's just such a weird scenario where Joe Biden is old enough that it kind of makes sense to run somebody against him, but nobody serious stood up. Like, we had Marianne Williamson, who's an absolute kook.
She's not even, I wouldn't even consider her a Democrat as much as like a third party.
Yeah, and then RFK, who obviously wasn't a Democrat, obviously isn't a Democrat. And then Dean Phillips, who just got in the race 10 years too late.
Because the people backing him it's getting weirder and weirder. Did you see like the OpenAI guy Altman or whatever is backing him.
And
like
then,
Dean, yeah, just
and then
strange.
I think the guy from TYT.
He's not a turns out he's not a Democrat. Is
That's
he?
right, Cenk. Yeah. And Cenk's got a weird issue too, where he wasn't born in this country. He wasn't like I don't know that
and
like
he,
you would
I
have
don't
to have
know
a
if he
Supreme Court
doesn't have
decision.
any political experience. He just is on a talk show.
Well, I worked for Donald Trump. He's just on a reality show. Yeah, look, I think that it's fair. I think that I think the criticisms of Joe Biden are fair, and I think that they are good. I don't think we should become a party that is like MAGA, where we're unwilling to criticize the people that we vote for. I like the idea of going in and voting for somebody that I'm not fully on board with. I don't mind the idea that when I vote for Joe Biden this November, I'm going to say, like, yeah, I am disappointed. Like, I don't like his approach just wholeheartedly and wholesale endorsement of Israel. I think that the United States has a unique position where they could have used, I mean, everything Israel has, their entire defense system, we gave it to them. Why can we not step in and be like, hey, knock this shit off. We're going to come up with a solution now. Like, that's what he could have done. And I think that he took a cowardly approach to that. I think it was the wrong approach. And he should be heavily criticized for that. And the people that on the left that feel gross voting for him because of that, I totally get it. They should feel gross voting for Joe Biden for that. But what the answer can't be is like vote for a guy who would have done the exact same thing, but also would be a fascist. Like there's got to be a part of us, or vote. Look, if you want to vote third party, go for it. But who the fuck are you going to vote for?
You're basically opening the door for Trump at that point.
Yeah, and even then, I don't want to discourage it too much. Like, I would like a third party to be more legitimate, and with ranked choice voting, it could be. But for those Democrats who feel that way about Joe Biden, that's warranted. He's not the best president, but what he does really well is take the temperature, and tries to do what he thinks he can get done. And had Joe Biden stood up against Israel, it likely would have been a political nightmare for him. I don't think that's a good excuse. I still would have liked to see him be more courageous, but it's kind of what I would expect from a guy who's been pro-Israel for the 350 years he's been on this planet.
Yeah. When you critically think about it, I just like that. What we have is a capitalism problem. What we are learning at our southern border is our intervention, right? With proxy wars, with the CIA, with policing the world, with us entering other countries unlawfully, is causing mass migration to our southern border. Like, we have to solve. That's an issue we have to solve. We have to stop doing it, right? But I see it as a capitalism problem that we need to look at. Like, exactly like Jay said, it's not going to stop. Voting for Trump won't make foreign intervention or us policing the world stop, right? We have to look at our economic system and make some changes there. So yeah, but I think it's definitely fair to criticize Joe Biden. The day that the Democrats stop thinking critically and criticizing our leaders, like I think that's the day we need to disband as a party.
I mean, there needs to be humanitarian efforts in Central and South America if you really want to attack part of the problem.
Yes.
Because there's reason why all these people are fleeing Venezuela, Honduras, Guatemala,
Cuba.
It's because of the corrupt government even down there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We are always talking about Cuba and Venezuela because that's where the most people at the southern border are coming from. But as someone who used to live in South America, any country there, do your research. The U.S., we intervened in that country in some way between, the 60s and now. We're all up in there taking resources. And if we aren't, then China is, then Russia is. I mean, that's just the reality of what has happened down there. And so, it's up to us to look at how can we stabilize these countries to the south of us so people can be safe and live healthy lives and raise their children there? Because no, we can't accept, like I've been saying, I was looking at the asylum rules right now. About 4 to 5 billion people on this planet could show up at our border and claim asylum. Can we handle that load? No. So that
are illegal and people don't know that asylum is one of the 4 ways you can legally immigrate into this country. There's 3 other ways. There's through employment. There's through knowing somebody. And then there's also like a lottery where like 250,000 people in the world win a lottery, which is kind of like weird. But
or a port key. You can also use a port key.
Yeah, like Harry Potter.
That's right. You got that reference. Thank you.
But then another thing I get tired of the Democrats complaining about is the support to Ukraine. And I made this analogy. I said, well, you know, people didn't complain to FDR about getting involved in World War II.
But they did.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, they did. There's always opposition. Just, you know, as a history, there's always opposition to war. It's just, that's not the way history is told, you know. The way we tell World War II is, you know, U.S. came in and saved the day. Like, there was much opposition to entering World War II, and actually World War II was won on the Eastern Front. Thanks, Russia.
But if the U.S. had not gotten involved in World War II, the world would look a lot different than how it looks right now.
Yeah, probably. All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. I think it's good sometimes to bring up opposition from our own side. So I appreciate you pointing those things out, and come back again soon.
Thank you.
All right, brother. See ya. A couple of things that have broke during the live today. Number one, and probably the most important thing that could possibly come across my screen is Alec Baldwin has been indicted by a grand jury.
For that
shooting, yeah.
From this set, yeah.
Secondly, the appeals court ruled that the lawsuit seeking January 6 emails from Texas governor and attorney general can move forward. So Ken Paxton,
he's gonna get
and what's his face, Greg Abbott, the lawsuit seeking their emails regarding January 6th is moving forward. So we may get access to their emails, which they have fought tooth and nail to not have those emails come out. So looking forward to that. What if there were ever a worse pair of just fuckheads? You'd have to show them to me. How did Texas wind up with Greg Abbott and Ken Paxton? Like Texas, we make fun of you plenty. You've got Ted and Ted Cruz. What are you guys doing down there? What's happening?
Justice for Texas. Like
there's
Ken
better
Paxton.
people in Texas. There's better. Do better, Texas. Even Texas Republicans. I know you're not proud of these two people at all. Interestingly enough, by the way. Republicans will be cruel all day long about the limitations of somebody on the left, but when it comes to Ken Paxton, he's an American patriot. He's a hero. I just wanted to point out the hypocrisy there. And I want to be clear that I have no problem with Ken Paxton being in a wheelchair. I just wish that while he was in that wheelchair, he also wasn't alive. Or just like it's somewhere else in a different country, right? I don't have a problem with his wheelchair.
Ken or Greg? Who are you talking about?
Sorry, Greg Abbott. Sorry, I mixed up. Yeah,
I was
Ken
like, do I have no idea what's going on with Ken?
Sorry.
Paxton?
No, Ken Paxton's the one that always looks confused.
Yeah. Ken Paxton's the one that's been subsidizing his mistress for. I also, another thing that just came out, which never before seen footage was released from Trump's April 2023 civil fraud trial deposition. During his deposition, the former president claimed that if he had not been elected president, the country would have suffered nuclear war, and that his handling of North Korea prevented a nuclear holocaust and saved millions of lives. His handling of North Korea meaning getting a loan from them and not paying it back? Is that the handling that we're talking about?
Making an agreement with them that wasn't signed, wasn't on paper, that was just something between him and Kim Jong-un, and then Kim Jong-un just immediately started, like just a couple months later, just like, I promised not to launch missiles, but I'm doing them now. Do you have the video for it?
So you're too busy for the company?
In a way, yeah.
To this forward.
Yeah, I think you could say it. It's another way of saying it. I was very busy. I considered this the most important job in the world, saving millions of lives. I think you would have had nuclear holocaust if I didn't deal with North Korea. I think you would have had a nuclear war if I weren't elected. And I think you might have a nuclear war now, if you want to know the truth.
I'm not going to use my 7 hours on nuclear war, but
No, I know that. No.
can I ask, though, it sounds like maybe a few things might bubble up. You said you were very rarely involved. Were there things that sort of came to your attention during your presidency that you recall?
I can virtually not think of anything. I would say the thing that I was most involved is telling them just don't do deals. We don't need deals. We have a lot of property. They're great properties. Run them. And, you know, we have great properties. We have the Mona Lisas of properties.
So you were too busy for the company?
It's delusion. Like that, it just goes back to what Gorilla is saying. Like a real leader can look at himself critically, can identify his weaknesses and surround himself with people that supplement those areas where he is weak. This man has never done a thing wrong, has taken accountability for nothing, has no weakness. If you cannot identify your own blind spots, you are weak.
Well, and more importantly, if you have to come up with such hyperbolic claims to show that you were an effective president, like what does that really mean? Like when nobody you see like the good liars, and then they go and they question like what was so great, and everybody says the exact same thing. Nobody can really identify what made Trump so great. Oh, I like that he spoke his mind. Well, what he said was fucking stupid. So why do you like that? Why do you like people that speak their mind if what they say is stupid? That's not like anybody can speak their mind. I know a lot of people who speak their mind, and some of them are very stupid, some are very smart. Like speaking your mind is not great all the time. As somebody who regularly puts his foot in his mouth, like it's not always great. But when you now have to lean on, or when you're leaning on, oh well, I saved the world, and only I can save the world again. Like that's when you know, and this is the type of stuff that we're seeing out of the campaign now. Why I feel like MAGA is getting to a halt is because it's getting ridiculous now. It's getting to the point where the people that are hearing are like what the fuck, like that doesn't even make any sense. That's nonsense. Like the world is not going to crumble if Joe Biden is not elected, and anybody who says otherwise, just ask them how. Ask them what is going to... Is the world crumbling now? No. Ask them what is drastically going to change if he's president. What radical changes is he advocating for? What's going to happen if Joe Biden becomes president?
300K likes. Thank you so much, you
well
guys.
done,
That's
everyone.
amazing. No, it's so true. Just that one claim that I'm the only one who can do this job. I'm the only one that can save you. That right there is a sign of delusion. Like, this country doesn't run because of one person. Right? Corporations don't run because of one person. A good team of people, anybody can, it's not dependent on one person. And his belief in that, yeah, it's malignant narcissism. Thank you, Purple Kitty.
And again, it forces it's how he works. It forces you to either say that he's crazy or believe his absurdity. And that's basically been his MO for 7 years now. He's going to say outrageous things, and he's going to force you to either believe him and defend him. And by the way, once you get people defending you, they're hooked. Like then they're in. Yep. Once you've defended somebody, you are far less likely to ever change your mind. So it's all part of this. He's done it his entire life. He's done it in business. He's done it in politics. He's done it in media, on TV. This is what he has always done. And I don't know if he understands it or if it's just part of who he is, but he forces you to defend him. And he forces you to defend, like, some of the craziest shit. Like the amount of women that are on camera saying it's just locker room talk. That's crazy. But there's one that I think it's the Good Liars do it, or it could
Propping
be
up the
no, it's not Good Liars. What's the Daily Show guy? Klepper. The one that
Jordan Klepper,
does,
yes, he's so
where he
good.
talks to that lady and she's like, it's just locker room talking. And he's like, do you have sons? She's like, yeah. Would your sons talk like that? No. Would your husband talk like that? No. Would anybody in your family talk like that? No. Okay, but he can say it, right? Then it's just locker room talk, right? Like it forces people to defend stuff that they would never allow in their own house, but because they've already like jumped on board, they just have to keep doing it. That's where you get that, and that's where we're at now. And that's why I will say it now before we go. I am predicting that Donald Trump will not be the Republican nominee.
You're taking a stance.
Listen, statistically, this is not a good bet. Don't bet on it. But something feels different to me now. The energy is so different.
I know exactly what you're saying. And just like what I said, it's great for the Republican Party to allow this to happen is a grave mistake for them. It's a miscalculation for sure. They should not allow him to be the nominee of their party.
That being said, I hope he is the nominee.
Amen. Oh, yeah. Fingers crossed for the devil. Yeah. We definitely need Trump to be the nominee. That's the irony.
If I'm wrong, it's a good thing. I would rather be wrong on this one. That's better.
If Nikki Haley is the nominee for the Republican Party, we probably lose. I mean, that's what the polls or the statistics say.
All right, that's it. We did it, folks. Everybody, we did it. We did Monday through Friday.
Whole week.
This was. I appreciate you guys letting us just kind of chill today and not dive into super deep issues. It's been a weird week with MAGA. It's gonna be a weird weekend. Be ready on Monday to see some weirdness. I'm gonna try and be around tonight on a live somewhere. I'll be bouncing in and out. I'm sure Felice is going to disappear into the void until Monday, and you deserve it.
Yeah, that's true. I do like to do that. Maybe I'll be around, maybe not. Message me. I need friends. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us, you guys.
Yeah, thanks for the likes, the gifters. You guys were incredible today. Thank you so much. It means the world to us. Make sure you're following us on YouTube. That's where we are trying to build so we can provide just a better optical experience for you guys as we do these shows. Twitter, Instagram. If you want to join the Discord, send Jen a message. If you can't find Jen, you can send me a message, or any of the mods actually can send you a link to Discord. So come in, hang out this weekend. Weekends are kind of fun in the Discord. It's a little more engaging. We're bouncing around in different lives. We would love to see you there, and it's a great way to interact. Thank you guys for the support. We will see you Monday, every day, Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific to noon Pacific Standard Time. That's it. Goodbye, everyone.
Later.